lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Jeremy Lee in the building and every guest that you ever needed. Sports cards after hours keep the hobby heated. Updates, hobby talk like you never seen it. Sports cards live and none could ever beat it. Sports cards is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Welcome to another episode of Sports Cards Live with your host, Jeremy Lee.
All right, everybody, welcome to the PWCC Premier Auction Extended Bidding Watch Party. It is Saturday, March the 19th, 2022. My name is Jeremy Lee, just like it was last week. I do want to thank last week's guests, Card Ladder co-founders Chris McGill and Josh Johnson. Check out that episode on the YouTube channel. Tomorrow night on Collectible Live, my guest will be the Collectible CEO, Ezra Levine, for a Mint Collective preview show. Check it out. 7 o'clock Eastern tomorrow night on the Collectible TV YouTube channel. I do want to shout out channel supporter Whatnot for the Whatnot app. They have 1-minute auctions and buy it now shows hosted around the clock by some of the best breakers in the hobby. A safe environment with a community of avid collectors and buyers. And they also have other collectibles, including Pokemon, Funkos, MetaZoo, comics, vintage video games, and more. I want to shout out the Sport Card Expo, Edmonton edition, April 15th to 17th. And the Toronto edition, June 2nd to 5th. Also, the Western Canadian show in Vancouver, April 8th to 10th. Check out bossashows.com. Shout out to Basketball Card Magazine and our co-host tonight, Editor-in-Chief Adam Gray. Go to bcfmag.com to subscribe. And thank you to all the podcast listeners, viewers, subscribers. If you are not yet subscribed to the channel, please take a moment and do so. But let's get to the event tonight and bring out our co-host. There he is, Adam Gray. Welcome back as always. How are you?
I am so good. As I say every time we do this, it's a great day when we get to do the PWCC Premier Auction party. I don't think that's the actual title, but I think of it as a party. So thanks for having me again, Jeremy. I always love it.
You bet, man. As always, you are welcome. It's great to have you. The show would not be the same without you. I just realized I don't have the right background, but wait a second. There it is. Now we have the background to really celebrate what we are going to be up to tonight. We have some people already loading into the chat. Welcome, everybody. Jake Dahl, All Valley, what is up? MLW Fishing Man, welcome to the show. Mikey at Eastridge, good evening. Jeff McMahon, what's going on? And Hoops Shoes, good to see you. Hoops Who's or Hoop Shoes? I'm not sure which one, but they both make sense to me. We got T-Dot, we got Seth. Happy Saturday to you. It is Saturday. It's the weekend. It's great. It's just a good day overall. Brendan Ryan, good to see you. Welcome to the show. Adam, I don't know if you noticed on the YouTube thumbnail, but I always try to put cards beside our head. We can't see them behind you. You can see the Joe Jackson on the bottom left there, which is really, that one there is for Erk, as he loves his vintage baseball. I put the Jordan Playmakers Theater up beside you, and it's covered by your head right now. And behind me would be the Alex Ovechkin SP Authentic Future Watch Auto. I have fun going through the auction every week and picking the cards that are going to go onto the YouTube thumbnail. That's one of the most fun parts I have in prepping for it. Have you noticed that they switch up every episode? Yeah,
I've noticed, and you do a good job with it, because it's kind of like you're saying, is there a card in this auction that like represents each of the people? And I think you've done a good job of it, right? This time choosing the Playmakers Theater makes me happy because that card is one of the real Jordan insert grails from the 90s, and it's a card that not only do I own, but I love. And so
we're talking about this card right here, everybody. I have the auction right now, Adam. I have it sorted by most expensive, or highest bid, I should say. So
sure.
Right now we can see that this Playmakers Theater MJ is the 7th highest priced card right now at $170,000. Like what a card. Only 3 in that grade. So I'm not surprised by the price it's at. Do you see this card climbing even further tonight?
Yeah, that's what's interesting about a card like this is what does the grade do to the value? I asked on my Instagram today, I think you saw it. I asked the question, what would you rather own, the PSA 10 rookie or the PSA 10 Playmakers Theater? And it just tells you a lot about a person as far as what they choose. I don't know that there's a right answer, But for me personally, like the Playmakers Theater is already an exceptionally difficult card to find in any grade, but to find it in a PSA 10, like there's a good chance you don't see one again this year, next year, the year after that. And so for me, I love the card and I think it's super cool. I could see it going up a ton, but we'll just see who comes to the table.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I voted in that poll that you put on your Instagram earlier today, and I voted for the Playmakers Theater. Reason being, well, first of all, it's a pop 3 in a PSA 10. It only has a print run of 100, whereas the MJ Fleer 86 rookie in a PSA 10 has a pop of like 317 or 319. It's right in that area. So I'd much rather have this card just based on the scarcity, and it's from that 90s era of inserts, which I love. So that was an easy vote for me. And the other thing for me would be that, I'd be satisfied adding a PSA 9 Michael Jordan or PSA 8 Michael Jordan rookie to my collection to represent that card and the importance and the iconicism of the 86 Fleer Jordan. I don't need the PSA 10. Would I love it? Of course. But I think if I had the money and I was going to buy one of those two cards, I would have bought this guy right here versus this guy right here. And right now you're even ahead by 30,000 plus the buyer's premium, as the Playmakers Theater is currently at 170,000 and the PSA 10 Jordan rookies at 200,000, coming in as the fourth or tied for the third most expensive card in the auction so far. I'm going to rest this up here right now for a few minutes, say hello to some more people who have come into the show. Brendan Ryan, I think we said hi to you, but we can say hi to you again. We have Eric Stefano in the house. Albert Jones is here. We got Josh Dawson in the house. He's become a Clubhouse regular lately. Josh, good to see you. Thank you for joining us as always. Brendan Ryan calls it eye candy. No doubt, lots of eye candy in here. And WNBAcards.com is in the house as well. Welcome to the show. Erk Myers will be joining us as we make our way into the shorter extended bidding windows. He'll be with us in about an hour and a half or so. So Erk, if you are out there watching, looking forward to have you join the show shortly.
Hey, Jeremy, before we get too far away from that conversation, I got a question for you specifically about this. So, you mentioned the PSA 9 or PSA 8 Jordan rookie and how that would kind of do for you for your collection. Well, what's a PSA 8 or a PSA 9 worth? 9's worth, like, this is just a guess, but I think it's like 20, 25,000, maybe 30,000. Does that sound right, or am I a little low?
Yeah, right in there. The 9s that I've seen lately they've fluctuated from anywhere between the last little while that I've seen. PSA 8s, I'm not sure where the PSA 8s are right now. I'm going to guess they're around that $8,000-$9,000 level, just based on what the 9s are at. Does that make sense to you? And I'm sure people in the crowd could tell us, but that's what I think. We could also just check Card Ladder.
Yeah, so that's exactly my point, is that if you look at the 8 or the 9, they fluctuate a ton, but they're sitting in this sort of 1/10 or 1/20th the value of a PSA 10. What's interesting to me is you look at this PSA 10 on the Playmakers Theater, and it's hard to guess where the value will be because it's a PSA 10. But if you have an 8 or a 9, so I own a BGS 8. I think that card's worth somewhere between $90,000 and $150,000. And so, you see what the PSA 10 is at right now, and it's like, okay, how much more is it going to be? I don't think we expect a 10 times multiple. We don't expect a 20 times multiple. And so that's one of those things that always makes me sort of wonder, is like, what is the premium on a PSA 10 of an ultra, like, elite level high end insert card? And again, I don't know what the answer to that is. I don't have any clue.
No, and it's going to be different for all of them. It's really going to come down to the population. How difficult is the 10? If you look at the Wayne Gretzky O-Pee-Chee rookie and Topps rookie for that matter, the PSA 10 population is 2. So the multiple is going to be very high. I think that the 10-to-1 ratio, or even if it's 2, or maybe it's a little bit less than that on the Michael Jordan rookie, is going to be lower because there's over 300 PSA 10s of that card. So I think it's much different, and it really relies on the population itself. I'm just going to bring up Card Ladder here for a moment. Here we have this on the right side here. We have the PSA 9 is currently showing as 20,302. And if you go on Card Ladder and you come actually it's up here, I believe. And here you can go to, where's all the sales? There's a view all sales. Oh, here it is right here. View all sales. Now we can see all the sales they have of the PSA 9. And I think you just scroll down and you've got all these guys, 21, 19.8, 21, 19. So it's there's one for 27, 32.4. So it's fluctuated right between 19 and the high 20s, even into the 30s, but seems to be averaging right around that low to mid 20s. Did you leave by for a second there?
Yeah, I actually tried to log in to be able to reply to some of the chat stuff, but then when I did that, it kicked me out. So I just came back as soon as I could. Sorry about that.
Okay, no problem. And here's the PSA 8, where the PSA 8 is currently valued at $77.95. You view all sales, and you're going to see that it's all in and around that price point, all the recent sales. And there's been several in March alone. I mean, we're still in March as I'm scrolling down. There's been, looks like a couple dozen sales right around that high 7s to low 9s or high 8s or even mid 8s, I guess.
So a multiple, the multiple between a PSA 8 and a PSA 10 is something like 40 or 35 to 40 times. What is the multiple on a high level insert? I don't think that the same sort of ratio exists between grades, right? The fact that there are 3 PSA 10s is actually like, there's some of these rare inserts where there's only 1 or 2, but you just wonder, on a card like this, what does the market say about what the premium on a massive high grade like that is? And you asked me the question, and my answer is I really don't know. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, well, here, let's go here for a second. Ben Mitchell, welcome to the show. Brendan Ryan says, what do you think of Drake dropping 200K in a personal break of flawless NBA? We'll come back to that, Brendan. We'll definitely chat about that a little bit. CS, evening, John. Excited to see how this goes. Got my eye on one of the cards. Awesome, Colin. Well, good luck in your bidding. T-Dot says it's 10 times on average. So, I mean, that's great. That's a good sort of indication. But is it really on average? And I would ask T-Dot, did you actually go through, 100 cards on the pop reports and compare them to come up with this average, or is that just off the cuff? And I'm just curious which one it is, because it's, I don't just want to throw around these amounts. So, if you have empirical evidence that it's 10 times, that's great. If you're just sort of, going by your gut, I'd like to understand that so we know what we're talking about here. But again, it's really going to come down to the population. It won't be 10x on a card that has more PSA 10s and PSA 9s, and we see that a lot in modern. So, it might be 10x on average for cards from the 70s and the 80s, but it certainly would not be 10x on cards from the ultra modern. At least I don't think so, where there's way more 10s than 9s, which we see with many cards. Josh Dawson just says, just takes 2 guys with deep pockets going after that Playmakers Theater. I suspect there might be more than 2 guys in on that card. That is a phenomenal card. Back to Drake, Brendan Ryan says he is hunting for the Lebron James logo man 1 of 1. Yeah, I mean, if anyone isn't aware, Adam, you must be aware of all this action the last 4 nights or so. Drake has been in the chats on various breakers' Instagram live streams and has been breaking several cases of Panini Flawless Basketball. I saw him doing some Prism. I see him chatting, making the odd comment, and the hobby has literally gone nuts about this. Everybody is all about Drake right now. Lebron James has put out some pretty funny memes, kind of having fun about the fact that the hobby is all starstruck that Drake has started to break. And I mean, it might be a big deal. It is a big deal, but the fact that it really comes down to how long will he be in this? Is he in this for the long run? And how much of it is he sharing and talking and really sharing on his socials with his millions of followers? What are your thoughts on this whole thing that's been going on the last few days, Adam?
So if I psychoanalyze myself a little bit, it's funny because I spend so much time on cards, which is our admiration for athletes, right? I don't find myself as somebody who's starstruck, right? I work in an industry where I get to meet and talk with people who make just gobs and gobs of money. And the thing that's clear to me is that people are people, right? if I was talking to Drake, I'm not sure it would be much different than talking to you. And so it personally doesn't influence me at all. But when I think about what it does for other people, it is so clear that people are, like you use the word starstruck, people are dramatically influenced by, when we look at our hobby and we think, this is a sign that we are cool. This is a sign that we have made it. This is a sign that we are mainstream. People really care about those things, and it influences values. So I think it'll be super cool when that card comes out. I actually hope he doesn't pull it and then he has to go get the thing, and that there's that story that happens afterwards. I think that'd be great for the hobby.
That would be interesting if he was actually buying on the secondary market. Now, you have to wonder if that's his angle. I've heard, just by all the talk going on and watching some of the chat during these live streams on Instagram, that he's a gambler. If he's a gambler, won't he stick to cracking wax and having the fun with thousands of people watching? Not that he cares about that, because he's used to having millions of people, never mind thousands. Thousands is drops in the bucket to him of people. But I mean, if I were him and I had a bit of a gambling mentality, I might just stick with busting wax and trying to find the cards myself versus going out and really grabbing it on the secondary market. Again, it's all speculation, and there's been so much speculation about why he's doing this, what his motives are. I see people posting in these chats like, "Hey Drake, will you sell me this card? Will you sell me that card?" And no offense to anybody, but do you really think he's going to take time out of his day to start doing trades with people? Like, not on Instagram. I don't think so. Maybe if he winds up at a card show with a posse, but what do you think?
Well, I think you bring up something interesting here. If this guy just buys all these cards and then goes and sets them in a box because he only is looking for the one big triple, that's going to break some hearts, because people are going to really want some of those cards, and maybe they don't find their way back into the secondary market. I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see what his angle is. Your idea about gambling is spot on, but this is what makes 101 such a beautiful thing. If he really cares about the triple that it seems like he cares about, then whether he's a gambler or not, if somebody else pulls it, there's only one way to get it.
Yeah, that's right. He'll have to go buy it. Exactly. You made a good point there about the fact that, if he's not going to be active on the secondary market, which I don't think he'll be an active seller unless he just ships them all off to a consignment service, which that doesn't seem unlikely to me.
Right.
But if he doesn't do that, then yeah, there are going to be lots of cards that are just sort of stuck away that no one's going to have access to. But it's maybe sad for some people, but that's the way the hobby works. He won't be the first person to open up his boxes of cards, put them in other boxes, and just leave them for years, if not decades, to be just hidden away and inaccessible to anybody else. Let's go through some comments, Adam. We have a lot of them coming in. Brendan Ryan says he heard that the LeBron logo man has $1 million bounty. Wow. Julian in the house. Good evening, Julian. Birds on the bat. T-Dot says he went through thousands. It's more like 8x 9 to a 10. Okay, what? Okay, T-Dot. You went through thousands, so that must have taken you hours and hours, if not months. But good for you for putting in the legwork. Maybe share your report, because that would be very valuable to the hobby. Frankie says, good evening. Good evening to you, Frankie. Brendan says, don't think the market has crested yet. Jay Tillman, Drake broke 13 cases of flawless. No, he's breaking the new product that just came out, but he's breaking, it seems like, dozens of cases so far. T-Dot says Drake is bored. I don't think the guy's bored when he's going to NBA games, T-Dot. I think you're off your game tonight, buddy, but keep him coming. Keep him coming. Brendan Ryan, it's nice to see celebrities have fun in the hobby. I think that's true. It is nice to see celebrities have fun in the hobby, bring more attention to it. It makes it more fun for all of us. Brendan says, I'd like to see some movie stars, some of their card collections. Yeah, it's always nice to see card collections of famous people, right? And let's see what WNBA says. She says, Drake heavily influences all of culture, so this may drive a lot more people into cards. If more celebrities get into cards and it becomes mainstream cool, you'll see another pandemic rush. That makes sense to me. You, Adam?
Yeah, I mean, the more times that we have light, and this is something I spent a lot of time thinking about. Whenever a light is shined on something, we used to think of that all light is shining on things as sort of like hyping things, right? But sometimes the market just generally needs to be understood. And when a celebrity goes out there and says, somebody like Drake, imagine him explaining to the world, listen, there's a card of LeBron James. It has 3 logo mans from each of his 3 teams. Like, that's all he'd have to say and explain like that exists and I want it. And they're in these packs and I can buy a pack and it gives me a chance at it, the same as you. Like, that drives people to go, oh, I didn't know that existed. Let me go look at it. And the more eyeballs that we get, because that light's shining on something that hadn't been shining on it before, that influences how the market grows. And as we know, when the market grows, that gives us a chance to see, like we've seen in the last 2-3 years, that gives us a chance to see valuations change. And so I think it's good that that's out there. And I think it's good when people sort of become converted to the hobby. They love it and it becomes something that's like big and important in their lives. But a lot of times it's like a really short-term thing. And so you kind of have to watch that too.
Yeah, no, I agree with all that for sure. Ramsey Welcome says, I think he's got a sales team set up to offset. He won't be active personally, but he has people that will. I mean, maybe. I guess we'll just have to see what transpires. I mean, it's all speculation. What is up, Richie Barone, the mayor of Canada? Always good to see you, my friend. Hits and Chicks says, trade safe to the moon. Thank you, Hits and Chicks. James Fertitta says, Drake was opening cases with 4K in the live. Nicki Minaj went live with 60K in her live. But the only difference there, James, is we're not talking apples to apples here. Drake went live on somebody else's. And no, Drake didn't go live. Drake only showed up in the chat. So he did not go live. If he went live, I think we would see that 60K that Nicki Minaj had absolutely blown away. He only was in the chat and he attracted 4,000 people. Wow. I don't know how many people Nicki Minaj would attract if she went in someone else's live chat, but we'll have to see. But again, he was not live or on screen, so it's a bit different. Daniel Busby, welcome. Great to see you. Thank you very much. T-Dot tells us that Drake is the king of the rap game. Definitely good for hobby. Yeah, that no doubt about that. T-Dot. Skeppy says a pop 3 PSA 10 of any card could go many directions in price. To think we have a reliable multiplier is a guess at best. Yes. 100% agree with that. And Hits and Chick says, in my personal opinion, the whole Drake thing is way blown out of proportion. It might be. I mean, yeah, it might be. But you know what? The hobby, listen, we are a bunch of people who love cards. We love sports. We love our cardboard community, all our relationships. And when somebody of the stature of Drake starts to open packs of cards just like we do, we look at that as, like Adam said, it helps us. It just helps reinforce I'll call it a fact that it's not uncool. Rather, it is cool. Cards are cool. I mean, I thought they were cool forever. Finally, other people think so too. Most people watching here probably have felt the cards were cool for a very long time. And now we're somewhat being validated publicly because somebody who is known to be cool, like Drake, is also in the hobby now, or at least for a while. So, okay.
Yeah, I think if I can just jump in real quick, the thing that's interesting about that is that people will buy into this thing in a short-term way where it's like, oh, he thinks it's cool, maybe it is. But then people just have to figure out whether they think it's cool, right? Because like you said, I've thought cards are cool forever, right? And again, I actually don't care what Drake or Nicki, whoever, I don't really care what they think. Like, it doesn't really matter to me, you've got to figure out what you like. You got to figure out what you want to collect, what you want to spend your time doing, what hobbies you want to have. And some of these people are going to come and go, and we're going to see all this stuff happen. But really the winners are the people who follow what they actually like. And they're not sort of like driven to and fro from just, following what famous people do. And so I don't think that's anybody in this chat, to be honest. But if you start a live, Jeremy, I'm far more likely to join that than if either of those two people we were just talking about start a live. So just no, I'd rather listen to you than those guys.
Yeah, I probably feel the same way. Unless they're starting a live to talk about the hobby, because I get to talk to you all the time, I might go listen to see what they're doing. And there we go. The Playmakers Theater that we were talking about earlier hits the board again with a new bid up to 180,000. Going to go to some comments, and we're going to start looking at these cards. Enough about Drake. But Drake, if you're watching, which I know you're not, welcome to the hobby, brother. Welcome to the hobby. Okay. Shannock says, hey, fellas, my favorite streams each month. Thank you so much, Shannock. Great to have you. back as always. Ramsey says there's nothing bad about the publicity for sure, no doubt. Brendan Ryan, it's an irrational hobby. The heart wants what it wants, and the rest is for show or profit. Fair enough. Fair enough. MJ Flipper says Drake will be in zero cool. There's a good chance of that for sure. And Josh Dawson says that LeBron James moved into second place in scoring all time, surpassing Karl Malone tonight. What is the significance and impact of his cards? Adam, I want you to respond to Josh's very good question here, because, I mean, listen, second place isn't first place. LeBron James already has very valuable cards in our hobby. He's the other guy in the discussion of the all-time GOAT. So what do you think? Any impact on prices of his cards, significance for the hobby, and just speak to the significance overall in the context of the history of basketball?
Yeah. I'm a big basketball history buff. And the thing that a lot of people might not know because they haven't looked at the list is that Karl Malone is a lot closer to Kareem than he is to anybody else, right? And so him passing Malone is more just a sign of him getting close to Kareem. He's not a half a season away, but pretty close to it at this point. He's if he keeps scoring at the pace that he's scoring at right now, he's something like 45 games away from passing Kareem. And that's going to happen. Right. And unless there's some massive injury that we just hope doesn't happen, knock on wood, we're going to see LeBron James as the all-time leading scorer. We're going to see him probably score 40,000 points. And he's going to have totals statistically that are the greatest ever. And that's kind of something that we've known for a while, though. So the question that I have is, and it's a question that I've had a lot, and Jeremy, I'm sure you've thought about this too. When we look at the greats as they're progressing and we look at their prices, how much of what we believe is going to happen is already sort of included or baked in, as people say, to the values of those cards? And to Josh's question, I don't know. I'm not sure. I kind of have already looked at LeBron and thought he's going to be the all-time leading scorer. I don't need to think too much about that. The question that I have is, when he gets there, does it impact how people think about whether he's the greatest of all time? And nobody thinks of Karl Malone on the short list of the greatest of all time. So I kind of don't think it really is going to do a lot to that. I think he needs championships if he's going to be considered in that, along ahead of Jordan. One of these little blips where people are like, oh, maybe he is. I think the general consensus is that he isn't. I don't think he is. I don't think that's, anything shocking to anybody, but in the short term, things can happen, and I could also be wrong. So we'll see what happens.
We will see. Yes, we will see what happens. I'm with you. I don't think that moving into second is going to impact his cards. I think it's already happening, and it's already happening based on him being the eventual all-time leading scorer. Never mind second place. It's that whole baked-in phenomenon that we have in our hobby. Want to say good evening to Joe Perot. Says it's a great time to be in the hobby. It really is. But we've been saying that constantly for a couple of years now. Does that mean it just keeps on getting better and better? I mean, I enjoy it more and more all the time. So maybe that is the case. Ben V says that the scoring record is already baked into LeBron's prices. I doubt it impacts his card prices today. I think you're right. I do agree with that. What does Skeppy say? The much bigger question here is, could LeBron withstand a Karl Malone elbow to the temple? Exactly. And Ramsey says that I have some Playmakers Theater NFL cards I got for great deals. They are awesome. Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. I have a Dan Marino from the 97 Football Playmakers Theater, and I absolutely love it. I actually think the football PMT Playmakers Theater are just a little bit nicer than the basketballs. They have a bluish sort of silvery tint to them.
Yeah, I would say the football Playmakers Theaters are there's no qualms about it. That's one of the prettiest cards ever. There's actually people who don't love the Playmakers Theater basketball cards because people like cards that shine. People like cards that refract. These don't refract. There's no rainbowy glow coming from that card. What the card does have that's really unique, Jeremy, is I think it's the deepest embossed card ever. In fact, I haven't done this yet, but it might be kind of fun to look at that card in the 3D and see if through that PSA case you can kind of see a little bit of that emboss that's going on, because it's deep. It's a deep emboss.
Deep emboss. Yeah, it's really nice. Okay, guys. So listen, I feel bad here because now hopefully nobody needed me or Adam to say this, but we are now in extended bidding. So you had the last half hour. Well, we've had the last several weeks, but in terms of being live with us here tonight, you've had the last half hour to get your initial bids in. and we are now there. We have just entered the extended bidding for the next hour. There will be extensions to the auction when there is not a bid for any 5-minute window. And then we'll go down to 2 minutes and 1 minute after 8:30, as you can see on the ticker right now. And if you're watching, which I know you are, unless you're listening to the podcast later on, in which case I know it's not quite the same, but thanks for listening. The bids are coming in fast and furious. Look at that right there. The Essential Credential Future Brady at 150. That card is numbered, I think, to like 25 or something like that. I did see a post about this card here. Someone called it the nicest Tatum RPA in existence at 75,000. Very nice. It's fun just watching the ticker at the top here, Adam. I mean, there we have a Curry refractor, Joe Perot's favorite player. And, you know, heart goes out to all you Warriors fans out there that he is now hurt for a while, but hopefully that doesn't set them back too far, but I don't know how it doesn't. Time will tell. 44 grand on that card. And we're just going to keep on seeing bids come in here.
The only thing that matters with Curry is if he's healthy for the playoffs. That's the only thing that matters. These guys have played together for a long time. And if he and Draymond can have just any sort of cast around them and they're both healthy, they've got a chance to win the whole thing. But if Steph or Draymond isn't totally healthy, we're not gonna, they're not gonna do anything in the playoffs.
Yeah, fair enough. Very fair. Brendan Ryan says that eye appeal does matter, and Brendan Ryan is 100% correct. Eye appeal certainly does matter. Simon says, I think LeBron's prices will go up in the weeks leading up to him breaking their scoring record next season and then go down when everyone floods the market with supply when he breaks the record. But go past that a step, Simon, because once that flood of the market happens, people get some cards for cheaper than they would have leading up to the record breaking. Then you start to level off, right? They tend to go back up a little bit later as the supply comes back down because the supply was flooded. And that's just a typical cycle that we see all the time in the hobby. But I think Simon is correct that's what happens. People see the prices going up. We saw it with the Jordan rookies, the PSA 10 Jordan rookies that hit $700,000. So that makes sense to me for sure. Octavio is saying more vintage hockey, please. Well, this month on the Premier, there are more hockey cards than I remember seeing before. So maybe we can just take a scroll down here. Before we do anything though, let's just scroll through. Before I put a filter on the search, let's have a look and see what's going on. I mean, the leading card in the auction right now isn't even a sports card. It is a Charizard at $260,000. Well, tied with the Jordan limited logos at $260,000 as well out of 75 and a BGS 9.5 with a really nice 6 or so color break patch. Very nice card. 52 tops Willie Mays at 200 along with the Jordan PSA 10. So this is already at 240 with the buyer's premium, which is I think kind of the floor that people are kind of considering to be the floor right now. Love this card. This is the card we have up for Erk tonight, the 1915 Cracker Jack Shoeless Joe Jackson at 180. This card we see pretty much every month, and why wouldn't you? It's an amazing card, and it might be a case too, Adam, where people are getting good money for these and basically motivating more people to sell theirs. Here's the card we've been having fun talking about. It's at 180. Tiger Woods, the gold SP Authentic autograph out of 100. PSA 10 is at $190,000. These numbers, it's funny, Adam. We should be desensitized to these numbers after doing this show for about a year now, but it continues to impress me, surprise me, whatever it is. And let jump in if there's a card that you want to talk about further.
There is a card I want to talk about further. It's because I was bidding on it and it just keeps getting bid on and I'm just irritated.
have we gone past it? Is it on this page?
It might be now if you refresh. It's close.
Okay, I'll do a quick refresh here.
You can keep going. I'm just gonna sit here and silently be irritated for a second because it's one of these things. Sometimes you have a feeling about what something's worth, and you feel like it might be worth quite a bit, like a lot. And you hope that other people don't think that. And then you find out that they do. So you're highlighted over it right now.
This one?
No, just to the right.
Oh, the Kobe Black.
I really like. I wanted. In fact, I even started thinking about what I was willing to pay, and this would be easily the most expensive card I've ever bought. And I'm not surprised at where it's at. And I'm not going to be surprised if it goes up way from where it is right now. But Kobe Bryant has three black prisms from his playing days. They didn't make one in 2012. They made one in 2013, 2014, and 2015. And then he retired. And so, this card, like two of my best 10 cards in my collection are Kobe Prism cards. I have two of the very best Kobe Prism cards in the world. I'm super proud of those cards. I own the 1 of 10 from 2012 Prism, and I own the BGS 10 silver autograph from 2012 Prism. And so I wanted to add this card with those. I did, but gosh, it's such a nice card, man, but I can't pay that much. I can't swing that. So I'm out, which is just crappy because I love this card. I just love this.
You were looking forward to having a chance at it all week, I know. So
I was. So and it
I didn't know what card you were interested in, but I knew there was a card you were interested in, and you told me it was this one just before we went live. I'm sorry it's out of your comfort zone right now, but very nice card. But this one interests me even more because I feel like we talked about this card last month, but it only had a 1 color patch. Was it a different parallel or was it the same out of 25 last month?
There is only one parallel. That's what's great about the old stuff, right? Is Ultimate Collection had a 2003 autograph rookie, and then it had a patch autographed rookie. And I'm with you, Jeremy. If there was a LeBron James rookie card that I would want to get that I don't feel like has caught up with how the rest of the market thinks about cards, that is it. With that LeBron flying through the air, 3-color patch, a perfectly blue autograph. It's only graded authentic, so that always makes you wonder. It's okay, why is it authentic rather than a PSA 7 or 8 or 9 or whatever? But you don't know, and so you look at it real close and try to understand the condition. And I think that card's incredible. I love that card.
Well, and everything you just said is obviously correct, factual, but this card is like 4 times as rare as his exquisite RPA.
Yep.
And it's going to sell for about, well, right now it's priced at about 1/10 of his exquisite RPA. Now I understand like this is only a PSA authentic. It doesn't have a number grade. So it may, I don't know what this would sell for. If it was a PSA 9, let's say, maybe it would be at double that right now. Still about 20% of his exquisite RPA, yet it's 4 times as rare. This is the math I do in my head when I'm looking for value opportunities in the hobby. And when I can marry a value opportunity with a card that I really want to own because I love the way it looks and it's special to me for whatever reason, that's when I pull the trigger. That's when you see me making moves in the hobby. When those two things can marry up, that's when I will buy a card and spend what would be a significant amount of money for myself. If I think that the value is that the current market value is lower than where it should be, and it's a card I love and a player that I want to have a holding of. So I think this is a spectacular card. I like this copy a lot more than the one last month too, that had an all-white patch. This is a step up for me, for sure.
Yeah, I'm exactly with you on this, Jeremy. And then I would take it a step further and say, the exquisite rookie is one of the most iconic cards. It's the card that everybody knows. This is a better looking card though. And again, I said this last month, the first RPA was an ultimate RPA. It wasn't exquisite. And so exquisite benefits from actually more transactions and from being from the original exquisite set. But it wasn't even the original high-end set. The original high-end set was ultimate. So actually go back up real quick, Jeremy. These 4 cards right here, just framed like that, are so interesting because you have all the way to the left something that's so unique, that triple autograph of the big 3. We see one of these come up for auction maybe every couple of months. 3 perfect autographs, an RPA of one of the greatest players of all time, a 1 of 1 of a card that's really significant of one of the most popular players of all time, and an RPA of a modern guy, and these are all how they're priced. They're all similar. Now that modern guy is out of 5, and it's a great patch. But I still, I look at those 4 together, and the 3 on the left make a lot of sense, and the 1 on the right I kind of look at and go, wow. People just think about things different than I do, right? People collect things that don't always make sense to us. Those other 3 cards, man, they all make sense to me. But the LaMelo is like, wow, the modern market is strong.
It certainly is. It really, really is. Okay, great stuff. I'm going to scroll back to the top. We'll watch the bids come in, and we're going to go to some comments now. Evan Thomas set up a table at a card show today for the first time and had a blast. I've got a new respect for the loyal vendors at card shows. It's not easy. That's a nice shout out there, Evan. Thank you for that. T-Dot says human eye appeal is why AI can never fully get involved. I mean, time will tell. Time will tell. Vintage Card Collector says, any thoughts on the Steve Young PSA 10? Much lower pop than Jerry Rice from the same set. I've never seen a Young for sale. Yeah, the only thing is that Steve Young, and this is a question, is it Steve Young's real rookie card, or did he have one from an earlier set from that other league, which is the USFL? Did he have a USFL rookie?
I think he does have a USFL card. I think it's considered an XRC, but I'm going into the recesses of my mind for that. I might be wrong on that.
Fair. But my thoughts would be, I would still prefer the Jerry Rice. To me, it's Jerry Rice and Joe Montana are kind of the tandem there. I remember Steve Young had a great career there. I remember it well. But if I had to pick, it's Joe Montana. Not that you need to compare these 2 guys, but you kind of do, because they say, they were in order and played the same position on the same team and had the same receiver for a while. So don't you think
though, Jeremy, that I hear what you're saying, but don't you think that really is a question of population? I mean, if Steve Young is 10 times as rare, you would take that over the Rice, I'll bet.
No, I wouldn't. And here's why, Adam, because for me, the question of who's the GOAT in football has only recently been settled as Tom Brady, right? Only over the last couple of years has that been settled. Before that, it was like, who is it? Is it Joe Montana? Is it Peyton Manning? Is it Walter Payton, or is it Jerry Rice? I've heard some really convincing arguments about it being Jerry Rice. So to me, he's just a more important player. If you're ranking the importance of Hall of Famers, I would put Jerry Rice right up there. So to me, that's a key card. And I'm actually going through the exercise right now. Mike, who's in the chat from Eastridge Hobbies, his wife is painting cards for me on canvas. She dropped off the first 4 for me yesterday. They're sitting right there. I'll maybe show them later. But one of them is going to be Jerry. I've already got the Joe Montana here. I started with 1 of each: baseball, football, basketball, and hockey. And the first football card I chose to get painted was the Joe Montana rookie. I think the second one, I already chose it. It's Jim Brown, which she hasn't painted yet. But the third one is going to be Jerry Rice, because it's such a cool card. And to me, that's where I'd go. So that's kind of my idea on Rice versus Young, or not that that's a fair comparison, but Young versus Montana even. Let's go to more comments though. James wants to know, what do you think about the old PSA label on the Jordan? I mean, it seems like the hobby prefers the new labels, which I think they are nicer, so that makes sense. I think it's kind of good that PSA updates their label all the time, because it encourages more resubs of the same card. So it's good for their business. Is it good for the collector? Maybe, maybe not. Just depends what kind of value you're going to get, and if it's something you want. Like, are you going to send in a card that's worth over $100,000 at a $5,000 fee just to get, and I shouldn't say that. I don't know what the reholder cost is anymore, actually. So I'm just going to not go down that path and say anything that might not be accurate about the pricing. Rich, great to have you. Glad you enjoy it. Hits and Chicks is actually aroused by tonight's auction. That's great. That's great. Brendan Ryan says, I think the grading companies are doing a percolation test of sorts. The demand is often measured by sales volume, but a good bit is not accounted for by barter trades, now online venues. I don't know that I fully understand that, Brendan, but then he goes on to say, I apologize to the hardworking people at Card Ladder for my previous state and gave them a headache. Fair enough. Sekron says PWCC Unvaulted ran a little video about the seller of the LeBron Brady Tiger. Guy seems really nice. Did they list the Hank Aaron PSA 8? Could not tell you. T-Dot confirms that's the Steve Young is the USFL. So does LWNBA. So T-Dot does. Ramsey says robot eyes are better than humans. AI is the only truly fair way to grade. I mean, if and when AI grading shows its face to the hobby, it's gonna be revolutionary, I would think. Aries Nunez says yes, he does on the USFL. Thank you. When it's good enough. All right. Steve Young is not as popular with collectors, says WNBA, and that's definitely noticed that. I kind of think of Will Clark in baseball, like Will the Thrill. Like I never see people showing Will Clark cards on Instagram. WNBA says that Jerry Rice is considered by some the best football player ever. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I've heard people say, professionals say. And I mean, the guy was amazing. I was watching a lot of football in those years and always enjoyed it. Mike says that his wife is working on the next batch of paintings for me right now. But tell her, Mike, that I'm willing to show these paintings, but please, nobody go on and snipe my painter from me, please. She does amazing work, and well, you'll see. I'll show them a little bit later. Okay. Timeless says, we always ask who's the best. Maybe we should ask if you had 5 Michael Jordans versus 5 King James, who wins? That's actually an interesting way. Hey, Adam, instead of talking about who's the better player, if you put 5 on 5 of the same player against 5 of the other same player, who wins? I'm taking MJ every day of the week. That's just me, though. All right. I got to take a break from reading all these comments, guys, but thanks for all of it so far. Hits and Chicks is still talking about Drake. All right. Oh, and there we go. There's a bid on the LeBron RPA that we were talking about a few minutes ago, Adam. There's 293 lots in this auction. And I find that when we talk about a card, often within a few minutes, we see a bid come up. I think it's coincidence, but when you get to a bigger and bigger auction, you have to start asking, is there any correlation between what you and I talk about and bids that come in? Because we're just talking, about them because they interest us. But I wonder if that has an effect on people bidding. I shouldn't say that. I have heard people tell me that they've bid on cards because they've heard me talk about them on this show, but never like in the 6-figure area.
I don't know about you. I've had people, makes me feel a little bit weird, but I've had people message me and say, don't talk about this card. I'm going to be bidding on it tonight. And I've had people message me and say, hey, my card's up for sale. Will you make sure you talk about it? And I always feel kind of uncomfortable with that because the goal is obviously not to change the market, but the goal is to talk about things in a way that sort of can reflect, that people can sort of like, that it can resonate with them, where they can go, you know what, that does make sense to me. And yes, that's something that does fit in my collection. And yeah, I do want to go bid on it. That's the goal. So, it's to highlight the things that exist that are out there. I mean, here's an example, right? We just had a little mini debate on the Jerry Rice, Steve Young thing, which by the way, I still think I'm right. You didn't convince me. But that could lead, to some facts coming out. And the fact that I just discovered while you were talking about it there, and I wonder if this changed your mind. So Steve Young is obviously a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's I think on a lot of people's lists is like a top 10 quarterback of all time. It's a key card from that generation. Jeremy, there are 9 PSA 10s. There are 9 compared to 59 of Jerry Rice. I am taking that 9. I'm taking one of those 9 all day long over the Jerry Rice. I'll push back on that. That's my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. But somebody being the best ever or one of the very best ever doesn't negate the laws of supply and demand. It doesn't. And so I'm going to take that card where there's only 9 of them. I think that's pretty clear.
Listen, you're right. It doesn't negate it. Just look at the Johnny Moore 86 Fleer basketball card PSA 10 that sells for more than some of the Hall of Famers in that set. And he's just a common card, but there's so few of them. So I understand that. However, I'm still not convinced. Like, I wouldn't make that play. I would still go for the Jerry Rice. Why? Because he's a player that I'm more interested in owning a card of than Steve Young. Steve Young isn't in my top 5 quarterbacks that I'd want to own a card of. Then I own several of my top 5, if not all of them already. I probably have them all, a card of them. I don't have a Steve Young card. He's not even on my want list. Jerry Rice is the number one wide receiver I want a card of. And to be honest, I don't even know if there's a number 2.
Yeah.
I don't even know if there's a second wide receiver whose card that I would really strive to own. I mean, it'd be fun to own a Gronkowski to go with a Brady, but like even Randy Moss it's not somebody that's a card that I want to have. I can't even think of another wide receiver. Larry Fitzgerald. I mean, I've thought about picking up a Larry Fitzgerald card because I've been to an Arizona Cardinals game, but really outside of the quarterbacks, it's Jerry Rice for me and Lawrence Taylor, who have basketball cards, maybe Joe Green, that have cards that I'd want to have. So,
yeah, I think fantastic conversation here, and I just love it when we have differences of opinion. You and I align on a lot of things, so it's fun to highlight it when we are different. And so maybe it's that I grew up in Utah and Steve Young plays his college football here, but yeah, I would lean towards that one. Yeah, I know.
It's up $100,000 from where it was last time we talked about it.
And I don't know. I've said this before. Crazy Kobe people are crazy, Jeremy. They compare almost nothing compares with crazy Kobe people. And he's got 3 Prism Blacks. That's it. He's got 3 of them. And so I didn't want anyone to see it. I didn't want to talk about it. I told everybody on the show. I told Jeremy before the show. I said, dude, I can't talk about this card tonight. I want to win it. And I just didn't want to have these conversations. And now it's so high.
What was the ceiling that you thought in your mind you'd be comfortable paying for that card that's now at $260,000? Like just say a number.
I would have paid $150,000 for it.
Wow. Wow.
And I know I'm not close. I know I'm not close. Okay. But like this world of cards is so variable that you don't know until you get there. But again, like this is the sort of card, like if I was putting this together, the back of BCF, the Kobe would have been sitting right there. Like that's such an important card. I couldn't believe it was in the auction. And so it's not even a little surprising to me that it's sitting at, what would Erk say it is at the door? 350, 312. Like that's not surprising to me at all.
Yeah. That's a lot. That's a lot of money for sure. Guys, check out on the ticker. I'm sure everybody's aware of the Mint Collective already. That is coming up at the actually next weekend. So there will be no episode of Sports Cards Live next weekend. I will be at the Mint Collective and Saturday night in Vegas. I'm sorry, I will not be doing a show, but I'm looking forward to seeing and meeting a bunch of you guys there. But later tonight, after this show, John Wee, who is the founder of Center Stage, the Center Stage app, will be joining me on the show. So check that out on After Hours. We'll be going live 5 or 10 minutes after this episode wraps up. John Wee, the founder of the Center Stage app, will be joining. Looking forward to having him on. A really cool tech business in the hobby that is doing some really cool things. I see some more comments about Tito says Jerry Rice is a 10, Steve Young is a 9. I mean, I don't know if he's talking about the cards in the auction or just ranking those players on a scale of 1 to 10, but I think that's a somewhat of a fair comment as far as a hobby ranking would go. I love watching the ticker here. Yeah, go ahead.
Super quick, Jeremy. I just looked at this. Again, I just think it's super interesting. 9,600, about 9,700 Steve Youngs have been graded, and there are 9 10s. You're talking about fewer than 1 in 1,000 of that card that has been graded is a 10. I mean, I'm glad that whoever mentioned this in the beginning mentioned it to us, because that is one of those really rare PSA 10s that just doesn't pop up very much. What's it at right now? Is it 6 figures yet?
I'm not sure.
I'll look at it.
Take a peek. Alexander says, speaking of low pop, the PSA 10 Reggie Jackson, 72 tops, went from 25K to 80K in the last 10 minutes. It's a pop 8. Now, that's not even his rookie card. It's not even his rookie card's like 63, is it?
I don't know.
Reggie Jack? No, I think it's a bit later. I'm not exactly sure the year, but it's definitely in the 60s. In any event, that's not even a first, second, or third year card, and it's already at 80K for a PSA 10. But that's someone who's going for a Hall of Fame registry or a Reggie Jackson set registry for sure.
Sorry.
I'll just read. WNBA says that Steve Young had a short career, sat on the bench behind Montana for 3 years, and then played 6 to 7 years before retiring. Had he started for 12 years in the NFL, things may be different. See, that's some great information. That makes a lot of sense. Buzzy says that the Reggie Jackson rookie is 1969. That's right. It's the same as the second-year Nolan Ryan. And Birds on the Bat says it's a 4th-year Reggie. His rookie is. Thank you, everybody, for filling us in on that. Before you jump in, Adam. Oh, sorry, Brendan. Well, that was a mistake. This card here, I love this card. I own a copy of this card, and so I love seeing it go for a good price because that's good for the card I own. And I think this is, to me, is my favorite rookie year LeBron that is not an auto or an auto patch. The essential credentials now, and the future's out of 1. The now's out of 102. Really cool card. Go ahead, Adam, please.
The famous story of the 1 is that Nat really wanted it. I actually was going to make a play for it too, and I knew he was going to go for a lot. But Nat, and I talked to Nat about this. He actually contacted eBay, made sure he was cleared to bid, and he this is in BCF. Like, this is one of our interviews, so I'm not disclosing anything here that I shouldn't. He goes to bid on it in the last few minutes, and eBay had messed up. eBay had not cleared him, and so he couldn't place the bid. This card that had been just out in hiding for 18 years or whatever, they never had a chance at it. Finally showed up, and then eBay messed it up, and he couldn't even place a bid. But that card sold for something stupid like 115 grand. It's certainly, $1 million plus card now at this point. So, but for you to have the other end of the essential credentials on that, and that's a beautiful card. And I'm with you. It's one of his best cards. It's not an autograph from his rookie year. It's a great card.
Yeah, I do love it. I mean, essential credentials are my favorite cards on the planet. I mean, I say that somewhat flippantly, but I'm pretty sure, and I've looked it over and over. My 3 favorite insert sets, whether it's 90s, 97 basketball, baseball, football, or the 2010s in hockey, where we got a lot of those same ones. It's like essential credentials, precious metal gems, and jambalaya. It's a very popular trio of card inserts to be your favorites, and of those 3, essential credentials are my personal fave. Here's Brendan Ryan says, do you think people need to reevaluate scarce versus rare? And it is one of, these terms have, similar type of definitions that are often used interchangeably. I use them interchangeably, probably erroneously, but I do, just because I, don't take that extra second to think about which one would be more appropriate. But I don't know. I mean, does it need to be reevaluated? Perhaps. There's the Steve Young right there. Yeah. $95,000.
I don't know the difference. I don't know the difference between scarce and rare. I have no idea. I know that the sort of like the thing that where magic happens in our hobby is when something is both rare and important. And if you can find both of those things together, again, that's where magic happens. So the Steve Young is the question. We've identified how rare it is. The question is how important it is. And that's where, like, this comment about he only played for 6 years. He only won. What did he win? Was it 3 Super Bowls? I mean, we won a fair number of Super Bowls. Is at least 2. I don't know. I was pretty young when those.
I think a couple too. Well, I just did a quick Google search. So what I see is scarce means insufficient for the demand, and rare means not occurring very often. So one of them is related directly to demand, and the other one is related simply to how many occurrences of it there are. So I think rare is a narrower definition. Mm-hmm. How many are there? Scarce means there might not be very many, but is it enough to meet demand or not? So to me, they're both important in the hobby. And I do think Brendan Ryan, I think the answer to Brendan Ryan's question is no. I do not think people need to reevaluate scarce versus rare. Why? Because I think implicitly people are thinking about it already. We understand that something could be rare but not scarce because no one cares if there's only 3 PSA 10 copies of some common Topps hockey card from 1974. Nobody may care about that. So it may not be scarce, but it is rare. But again, do we need to reevaluate it? I don't think so. I think we are aware of it, and I think we are already considering it when we're making decisions and evaluating card values. Good.
Same page.
Yeah. I think,
Hey,
but I want to thank Brendan Ryan for even like triggering me to go look at those definitions, because it's nice to learn something on the show tonight and kind of just have better definitions for those two terms that I've used interchangeably, and I will try not to moving forward.
I was going to ask you what you think of that Tiger PMG.
I love it, man. I love it and I hate it. Here's why. I love it because I love it. I hate it because I was not bidding on PSA 9s about a year ago for $3,000 because I thought, well, maybe I'll wait for the next one. I never did. And now the PSA 9s are going for like, close to 10 grand. And I could have had one for $3,000. So I love it because I do. And I hate it because I'm just mad at myself for not buying one when I had a chance to buy it for a lot less than I could today.
Aren't they like part of like an employee set or something?
They are. That's an employee card, a Christmas gift or a holiday gift given to the employees of Upper Deck. They've been getting precious metal gem sets for a few years now.
Does that doesn't turn you off at all?
It does not turn me off, Adam, but it was something that I did have to really think about. But no, it doesn't turn me off. It's the aesthetics of the card to me. It is numbered, which helps. And the fact that it says employee exclusive on the back, listen, I'd prefer it was a pack pulled card. But the whole rookie card issue is irrelevant because it's not a rookie card. It's just a really cool, nice looking Tiger Woods card. So, and I do love those. Oh, there's the LeBron again.
Ironically, I think you and I actually have the same feeling on them, which is when I first saw it, there's the Hogan, there's like 4 or 5 other cards, I think, from that set that are kind of interesting. And I did the same thing. I looked at it and I was like, you know what? That's cool. Like I should pick one of those up. And I think at the time I was looking at it, I mean, I'm not even sure it was like over $1,000. They just weren't that much money. And I thought, well, that could be interesting, but cash is always so tight and there's only so much to pick up the things you really want. And it didn't meet that measure for me. And since then, we've seen the explosion of the PMGs of everything. Just every level of PMGs have just completely exploded beyond sort of, I think, what we ever expected. And so clearly we both missed the boat on this, but I get it. I don't love that they just came the way they did. And I don't know if I'll ever get past that, but maybe if I really thought about it, I would. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I understand it. It does take some getting used to, I think, but definitely a nice looking card for sure. Back to some comments here. Vintage Card Collector says that even with the pop difference, I'd still take Rice over Young, and we're on the same page, Vintage, me and you. WNBA says Steve Young was my first big card when I was a kid. I still have the first 2, definitely PSA 1s. Very nice. Very, very nice. T-Dot says, I read the card market is currently worth roughly 13 billion as it came up on another show. Well, that's a good, healthy number. I've heard estimates, I believe, of like 70 or 80 billion by 2025, something like that. I think I've heard, but don't quote me on that. C. Keat, I'm auctioning off some 03 Essential Credential rookies for cheap. Ooh. Very nice, C. Keat. Those are some of the nicest cards out there. T-Dot says, rare means not a lot made. Scarce means not many available. Well, I think we just looked at the definition, and I think hey, there's probably more than one definition, but that's not exactly what I was interpreting them to mean. But close. Says there's overlap, and I think there is overlap. I think it's just a narrower definition of rare than scarce. Here we go. Ramsey says, a better way to think about it: if there are a million copies of something that everyone and their mom wants, it's worth whatever the market warrants. Rarity just means low production. Okay, that makes sense. We won't even read that one. Skeppy says, Adam, please explain some mistakes people can make when correlating pack odds versus actual market rarity and scarcity.
Yeah, I think that when people look at when a product first comes out, people will sometimes sort of try to interpret like how rare something actually is. And then on the other side of this, sometimes people just look at populations from the graders. The real key is to understand how much of something exists. Not whether it's graded, regardless of what the odds were coming out of the pack. You can sort of triangulate some of those things, but the real question is how much of a thing exists. And then, to add to that sort of scarcity conversation, I'm glad we talked about this. I'm glad you looked it up, Jeremy. What is the demand that's related to that thing that's rare? And so, again, I think that's that's what we're talking about. But as far as, Skeppy's question here, be sure you understand how much of something exists, how rare it comes out of the packs is part of that. How many of them are actually in production? That's what will, that along with the demand ends up equaling, what something ends up being worth.
Makes good sense to me, for sure. WNBA says there is a cool Hulk Hogan and Michael Phelps in that same set as Tiger. And I know that. I own both of those cards and I love them very much. Buzzy has the McDavid employee PMG. Love the employee cards. I also have a copy of that, Buzzy. And yes, I love it as well. Lamim James, welcome to the show, says, you two are very handsome. See, Lamim James knows his stuff. He knows his stuff. Thank you for that, Lamim James. Referenced you a little bit earlier. Welcome.
Is Lamim bidding on the 1-of-1 tray? That's what I want to know.
Let us know, Lamim, if you're still there and willing to share. Andy Max lets me know that my Calgary Flames are up 3-0. Well, that's good news and going to make me happy. Thanks, Andy Mack. And Richard Gautron found a Patrick Kane 2014 PMG green in a dollar box a couple of weeks ago. 0 PSA pop. It's a PSA. Rare and scarce. Good job, Richard, for sure. Very good. And you were saying, Adam, that all PMGs are kind of like off the board right now. Even the 2021 Skybox Metal Universe Hockey PMGs have gone crazy. They did, for the first time, they did a gold PMG 1-of-1, and the Sidney Crosby sold at Golden Auctions last week for $160 something thousand, a 2020 PMG, $160,000. So, and they're all selling for some nice money, especially the tributes. There's actually two different versions of them in that set. You've got the current year with a new design, and then the tribute to 1997 that are just killing it in volume. Lamine jumps back in, says, I'm bidding on a 1-of-1. I'm not bidding a 1-of-1. I'm not that guy, pal. And he's crying about it.
Hey, let me jump in real quick and just say, related to the PMGs, I did, and you participated in this. I appreciate it. I'll make this quick. We did an iconic ranking for our newest issue of BCF. We pulled 40 basketball card experts. Jeremy was included, and some other people who you all know. And as we did that, one of the things I shouldn't say this because it's going to be in the magazine, but one of the things that really blew me away, Jeremy, is that the market has changed on its perception with PMGs. If you compare the iconic ranking from 18 months ago to today, it is just really clear that the way that we feel about how iconic or important the PMGs are has even changed over the course of the last 18 months. And that's not just across the whole market. It's saying it's against the other cards that are really iconic. So think about those cards, the PMGs that are really iconic. People think about those differently than they did 18 months ago, for sure.
And don't forget that I think it was just last month, the Kobe Bryant PMG green from 97 sold for $2 million in an auction that was a private deal made very public, sold for $2 million. Was that brokered by PWCC? I believe it was, right?
It was brokered by PWCC. And also don't forget, and I got to give this a shout out because it's one of my favorite cards, the PMG Championship last month was the one that we spent so much time talking about when it sold for $324,000. So it's across the board. PMGs are the secret's out. Everybody loves them.
Yeah. You know what? Not everybody. And I know you mean that generally, because I've recently heard some people say that they don't like them at all, and that's cool. I want somebody to not to like them, because if everybody liked them, somebody would be lying. It's just the way it goes, right?
That's true. I meant generally. You're exactly.
I know you did. C. Keat asks me, did you buy that Sidney Crosby Star Rubies that sold? I did not, C. Keat. I did not buy the Star. What Star Rubies? Are you talking about the Black Diamond, which I don't consider a Star Rubies? Or no, you're not talking about a rookie. Okay, no, I did not buy that, C. Keat. I wish I did, but I did not. Vintage Card Collector, can you discuss the Barkley Star card? Usually we only see Jordan in a Premier, but that's a strong price, man. I wish PSA graded these.
Yeah,
speak to that, Adam.
It's a 9.5. So, and this is, I'm going to make an interesting connection here. This kind of goes back to the Steve Young. Steve Young's got an XRC and he's got a regular Topps rookie. And that, in some ways, is wonderful because it gives you different options. But in some ways, it hurts him too, because when you only have one option, that's what, that's a helpful thing, I think, in general. This Barkley, though, it's a 9.5, as Vintage Card Collector says here. PSA does not grade these. And so, where you have one of the greatest players of all time, one of the 25, 26 greatest players of all time in Charles Barkley, a card that's very rare in the first place. And then especially in a 9.5, I can't think, does it say here in the auction what the pop is? It's got to be really small.
They usually put it up under the title here. Yeah, 1 of 9 right there. One of 9.
Yeah. So not shocking to see a crazy price on this. I mean, if you were a Charles Barkley collector, how are you going to buy something in your collection that's worth $20,000 plus? It's not easy. It really isn't. There's not a lot of options. Here's one of them. So that's why something like this goes for so much.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And the fact that you don't see them in the Premier Auction, this is the first time we've seen it in a Premier Auction, I believe. And the people bidding are thinking, hey, these don't come up very often. This is a high grade copy, low pop. It's rare, it's scarce. I'm gonna go make a bid, and that's what we're seeing for sure. Mickey Mantle, we saw the 6 go by earlier at I think 46K, and here's the PSA 5 Mickey Mantle rookie. This is the Mickey Mantle rookie. The 52 tops is not a rookie card. This is the true Mickey Mantle rookie, and this is PSA 5. There's also a 6 in the auction tonight as well. Go to a couple comments here, Adam, if you don't mind. Let's see here. Skeppy says, PSA has all the knowledge and ability to grade star cards. They choose not to. Long story going back to with Steve Taft, which I've heard Steve Taft's name several times as being the expert in star cards. Says PSA may have to grade them again. Maybe they will. I guess time will tell. We will find out for sure. Albert Jones says 1 out of 5 is scarce. A PSA 10 of a random 80s football card, for example, is rare. Thank you for chiming in on that discussion, Albert Jones. That's a fun discussion tonight. I enjoyed that content tonight for sure. Just being able to talk about it. Okay, I wanted to, someone asked earlier how many hockey cards are in the auction. So I did go and do a hockey sort behind the scenes. 5 hockey cards in the auction tonight. That's more than usual. We've got the Alexander Ovechkin PSA 10, SP Authentic Future Watch Auto at $25,000. This card has sold for in the 40s recently. I think Card Ladder actually shows this card as $40-something thousand. So I mean, this seems like a good value right now. This card here, I was talking about this card earlier with somebody, and I think this Connor McDavid, this is a rookie year auto patch. It's numbered out of 5. It has the perfect patch. It does not get any better than this when it comes to an Edmonton Oilers patch. You've got half the oil drop. You've got the outside of the oil drop as well. You could have the whole oil drop in there, but I actually prefer this where you can get a bit more of the picture. You don't want just a plain orange patch. So this is an amazing card. I mean, if his RPA is 100, 150, 200 grand out of 99, and this is only out of 5, this is a card I see value in this card, and I don't own a copy. No, I don't know whose this is. Nothing like that. This seems like I was asked what I thought this would sell for, and I said I could see this go, in the high 20s. I think the difference is that this is not game worn. The patch is not game worn. I believe his RPA, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, I believe his RPA is game worn. So that could be a significant reason why it's cheaper. But there's only 5 of these. The autograph's beautiful, and it's as good a patch as you're ever going to get. That is the best patch possible, in my opinion, on in a patch window that big. So anyway, there's that card, which, as you can tell, I'm pretty bullish on. This is the rookie year Alex Ovechkin emblems of endorsements, dual patch auto out of 15, BGS 99, $25,000, pop 1 of 3, 2 graded higher. And I do think this is a sticker autograph, which is really rare in Upper Decks the Cup. But this year, that's the way it was. This is an amazing card, Adam. This is an SP Authentic Future Watch auto patch. Sidney Crosby graded a 9. And I mean, it's I think this card is out of 100. His Cup RPA is out of 99. They're both great cards. This one, you get the full picture of him in action. a really nice, that's the Penguin's beak right there. You've got a really nice patch. So a great card at $15,000. Seems low to me now. I've had a couple of these in the past. I think I had them back when they were worth $1,000 or so. And now I feel the 15K is low on that card. And then finally, a very nice PSA 7 Bobby Orr rookie with the top 15% eye appeal rating, $24,000 right now. Those are the 5 hockey cards in the auction this month. Oh, that's a lot of talking, Adam. What do you want to talk about now?
I'm just watching all these bids rolling, and I was just sorting from highest to lowest and just sort of scrolling through. I'm with you, Jeremy. It just never ceases to amaze me how many 6-figure cards PWCC is able to pull into a single monthly auction. I mean, we kind of take it for granted we get to just sort of like sit here and cover this, but like we've got like 20 something cards that are 6 figures, and so many records that are being set right now, and so many cards that you're just not going to see up for auction again. Like we talked about the Playmakers Theater. When do you see another Playmakers Theater in any grade sell? I can't remember the last time anything sold, and we're talking about a PSA 10. Like it's not a big deal, and obviously it is a big deal because it's at $200 and something thousand. But there's just so many really nice. Look at that Trae Young, right? Maybe Lamim's bidding on the Trae Young gold. Lamim, what that you said you weren't going to bid on a 1 of 1. What about something out of 10? Is that where you're at, brother?
That's a nice card too. I do like the Prism Golds. They do look nice. Every card on this first page, 24 cards are all over $100,000 right now. So I'm not going to go to page 2 yet, just to not have it sit there and spin. But I also want to point out this Michael Jordan, the SGC 10 at 130K. I mean, that compared to 200 for the PSA 10. Would this cross over to a PSA 10? I know people would ask that question. I don't know the answer. You would think it should, but in any event, I always think there's some value in these SGC 10s because they seem to be a fine quality, and SGC's grading standards seem to be right up there with PSAs. So I'm going to go back to the top and go to some comments, Adam.
Okay. I was going to ask you what the color on the Kobe was like, because you're good at diagnosing those.
Which Kobe? Sorry.
The Kobe Chrome next to the card that you were just looking at.
Oh, I did. Oh, here, let's have a look at that, and then we'll go to the comment. Where did it go? Here it is. Actually looks, I see on his bicep a little bit of green. That's about it at a real small scale there, but let's have a look here. I mean, right in here, you've got the greening happening, but you don't have it in his legs where you often see it. You don't have it at all there. Sometimes you spot it in the crowd around here as well, like early onset greening. I don't see it there. Minor here. I mean, I consider that minor. It's definitely there, but it's not that offensive. Maybe a little bit up here in the arm, shoulder area, bit in the hand right there. Don't know whose hand it is, but his hand is turning a little bit green. I mean, to me, this is a fine card. There's not an excessive amount of greening, but there's definitely a little bit.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah. Okay, so Logan Fisher asks a really interesting question here. He says, what are both of your takes on, I'm just going to go back here quickly, on joint ownership of a large card? Obviously, trusting the other partner is the largest factor, but any other thoughts on the topic? So joint ownership of a card. I'll just say, Logan, I've never done it. I've never I'm talking non-fractional joint ownership. So I'm not talking about buying shares on the collectible platform. I'm talking about me and Adam going out there and deciding, hey, let's go in halfers on a card. We'll each put in 10 grand and buy a card together, or 150 grand, or whatever that number would be. I'd consider it. I'm not against it. I've just never done it. And would I? Maybe. I'm going to just stick with maybe. That's as specific as I really can think that I can get to right now. How about you, Adam?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I think you talking about like how it relates to collectibles is interesting. So, for me, I would say I'm a collector. Like, I want to own my cards. I don't like the idea of, I trust Jeremy totally, But if he called me and he was like, "Hey, Adam, there's this card I really want to buy. Do you want to go halves on it?" I would be like, "So why you just need half of what? Like, are you short on cash or something?" I'd rather loan Jeremy money so he could go buy a card. But I don't have any interest in owning something with somebody else, because to me that becomes more about the business side of it. And although there is a massive business side of it, I'm not like, that's not lost on me. I just want to own the card. I don't want to think about it like being something that's just going to make money and then I'm going to sell later. I kind of stopped doing that a long time ago.
By the way, that's a rookie year LeBron James Jambalaya. Really cool card. PSA 8's at 19,000. I like the second year LeBron Jambalaya as far as just aesthetics of the card goes. It's just a much better pose. It's an action shot. It's like a mid-air about to dunk shot. Really cool looking card. Okay. This is Eli. He says that the Connor McDavid Cup RPA at 99 is event used rookie photo shoot jersey. Thanks for the update on that, Eli. June says PMGs are awesome, no doubt, but there are so many of them now across all sports and non-sports, overdoing it to the point they don't seem as rare as before. It started with 2013 retro unlicensed stuff. I thought it was 2012 retro unlicensed, which hey, we're only a year off there, June, but yes, it did start there. And as far as being the first PMG since '97, and it was unlicensed in basketball and football, but it was licensed in hockey. So those are the first hockey PMGs, and we, being us hockey collectors, love them. I certainly do. And but yes, the Upper Deck has put out more and more in hockey. There's been several years of them. There's the annual employee set that still comes out to this day, I believe. And now they've reintroduced Skybox Metal Universe in 2020-21, and there's going to be a set again, 21-22, that there will be more PMGs. And I've mentioned to Billy over at Upper Deck, I've said, you got to take a break from the PMGs. You just got to take a break one of these years. Otherwise, it will go the way of the jersey card. So, but the early ones will always be valuable. I don't have any kind of fear of that going the other way.
I think June's collection is largely like just truly incredible, like game used autograph type stuff. And there are times where I stand back and I look and I go, man, it is pretty incredible how the value of cards that are just cardboard over the course of the last 5 years or so have really, really taken off, even compared to, some of those patch auto type cards. And that, that did seem like a foreign thought, 5 or 10 years ago, to think that like a gold card or a PMG card or something like that, my collection, like I've got several big like limited logos and stuff. None of them compare value wise to like a gold Prism card. And if you're somebody, and I hope I'm not misrepresenting June's collection. He's got some other great stuff too, but I think it's a good question. Like, why is that stuff worth as much as it is now? It's pretty incredible that it is. And I think the answer is that's what the market has dictated that it wants, and we'll see if it continues that way.
Yeah. So I'm doing a sort here by lowest value. People often say, hey, what's going on at the low end of the auction? And right now the lowest priced card in the auction is $5,000 right here, a dual Carmelo and LeBron autograph from 06.
It's a great card.
It's a very nice card. This is a real nice looking card right here. This would go nice with the LeBron that's at 160K. Pull in a Carmelo for much, much less. What else do we have at the bottom end? A select gold LeBron out of 10, BGS 95 from 2014, sitting at 8K. That seems low to me, Adam. Why do select golds sell for so much less than Prism golds?
Well, that's a great question, Jeremy. Sorry, go ahead.
Is it brand equity?
Yeah, that's it.
Simple as that.
So that's all that matters. I will say this, Jeremy. We say this every time. I don't know how many people are watching right now, but like, if you wanted to do something really smart, and this is just, thoughts by Adam real quick. Mm-hmm. If you want to do something really smart before the auction, a couple hours before the auction, you go in and you bid on everything that's low, because we're already at this point. You can't bid on these cards if you haven't already. And somebody's sitting there looking at that Carmelo, Ultimate Collection now going, I might get a great deal on this. It just seems like there's great opportunities to find some decent deals when, if you're willing to be smart and take your time with it, just like any auction house. And let me say one last thing about this. The decentralization of auction houses over the course of the last couple of years has created opportunities, because not everybody is going to look at all of the different places. I look at every auction on PWCC, every single one, because I love PWCC, and so I'm going to notice them all. But some people might not be looking, and so if they're not, take that and use that to your advantage. Find something that does sell cheap, and then go sell it to somebody else who's looking for it and maybe wasn't looking at the auction that day. So bid on the cards beforehand so that you can bid during extended bidding. It's what worked out for me last month on the jaw, right? I didn't think it would go as low as it did, and then I was like, okay, let's see if I can get this thing.
I gotta buy it. C. Keat wants to know if I ripped any 2020 Metal Universe hockey. I did, C. Keat. I opened an inner case of 4 boxes, and I think I did it. I think it's on the channel somewhere, and I didn't hit any like really good PMGs, but I hit a nice Rubies rookie of Tim Stutzel, jersey numbered out of 50, so I was happy with that. Definitely. And WNBA says Panini killed the game used stuff in favor of pushing parallels, which, I mean, it just depends what game used stuff we're talking about, but I'm okay with fewer jersey cards and more nice looking parallels. That's just me. Evan Thomas says my entire collection is a joint collection with my buddy Stu. I like having a second set of eyes on deals I make. The pros outweigh the cons for me. See, I get that, because that's all you're doing is collecting with a friend. It's a joint collection. You'll make decisions together, and you can enjoy the collection together. That's, as Adam said before, jointly owning a card is more the business side, but I think what Evan is describing is not the business side. It's the partnership side or the shared experience side. However, if you're like me and Adam, where you own all your cards individually, and then you decide, hey, we're going to partner up on a card. Yeah, as Adam said, that is the business side of it. We are partnering it because we both want to own it. Neither of us can own it all. So we're going to have to decide when to sell it, make some money, and move on. And that's more of a business transaction. So I understand all sides of that. Here's another black gold LeBron out of 8 from Donruss Optic at $9,000. But even more interestingly is all the way over here, we have a Ron Mercer BGS 7.5 97 PMG green. This is out of 10, 1 of 1, 1 graded higher. So there's only, population 1 of 1 when you have a BGS 7.5. I don't even think it's necessary to say this. It's nice for people to know. But what's more interesting to me is, what's the total pop on this? What's the total pop and how many higher? I don't care that this is a 1 of 1 at the 7.5 grade. I want to know total graded, how many higher. And then we have this, which we've never seen before, a 95 Pokemon Japanese Top Sun box. Wow, $9,000. I mean, that actually seems decently not too expensive. And I know that our friend Yamwax loves this product, so maybe he's going to buy it. That'd be cool. Okay, let's go through this bottom page and then we'll go to some comments. This is the card that, man, I wish I bid on this. You can see I had it favorited with the black star. Man, that's a 9.5. This is the another Essential Credentials LeBron. So if you have the rookie, as I do, this would be a great card to pair with it. And I think the reason I stayed away from it was the centering. The centering is a 9, and when I looked at it, I do remember noticing that the border up here is much narrower than the border down here, just by the letter S and J. And while that's not enough to keep me from buying the card, I did notice it, and I just make the comment. But really a nice card, and I love you've got this orange acetate with die cut foil cardboard on top. Really a serial numbered out of 75. Just a great card. We got some Matt Stafford making an appearance in the BGS 10. James Harden, pre-beard or early beard. Probably one of my favorite Luka RPAs. The Immaculate, another Pokemon box. So those are the lowest priced items in the auction right now. Let's go back to the top and see what's going on. The rookie year LeBron Jambalaya has crossed the $20,000 threshold. And here we have a Lamar Jackson RPA BGS 9.5 at $30,000. Very nice, very nice. Adam, anything you want to jump in with before I go to some comments?
I love that LeBron Jambalaya. It's grown on me through the years. You're right about the pose, but unlike the 04, it is actually the Warp Tech And people love the warp tech. You know, they love that. They love that sort of format on the cards. The James Harden that you highlighted is one that I've been considering bidding on because it's 2012, and the last time that card sold, it was for about 3 times what it's at right now. So, that might be wrong. About 2 times. So we might see some fireworks on that Harden. Harden's really like, he hasn't done himself any favors this last few months as far as his collectability goes, and so his stuff I think is, you know, if you believe in the Sixers, it might be a good time to pick up some James Harden stuff.
Yeah, fair. The Ovechkin emblem of endorsement rookie year is up to $29,000. Guys, on the ticker we have Basketball Card Fanatic, the website BCF Mag. Our esteemed co-host Adam Gray is the editor-in-chief of bcfmag.com. Him and his team do a great job on the magazine. So check it out and throw a subscription their way if you are so inclined for some of the finest content on basketball cards in the hobby. And he's showing you a little sample right there of here. Show the centerfold while I have the let's see, that's a nice centerfold.
I love the centerfold this month because we had a wonderful piece done by Card Sham Card called Missing Grails, and you can see this right here is a digital rendering of the Steph Superfractor, which we've never seen, and this over here is the Luca Black Prism that we've never seen. And if either one of those cards was to come to market, it would just be absolutely just gigantic. We hope we get to see the day. We hope those cards didn't end up in the trash, is really the truth, because they're both well into the millions of dollars. And then sorry, the last thing is the background of that there is Nat's collection of wax. And so I really love the centerfold this month.
Very cool. Skeppy says, what do you guys speculate are the causes of greening on the Kobe Topps Chrome refractor? And it's on the refractors and the non-refractors, but it's not air or light exposure because they come out of packs today green. So yeah, we actually learned about that when we had Jean McLeod from Marina Designs on the show, and she talked about that basically it's the chemicals that are used to produce the materials that are used to build the cards. And it's basically that batch of chemical, that batch of material that was used to create the card, was it heavy in the chemical that causes greening or less heavy in the chemical that causes greening? And that's what Jean McLeod kind of opined was the reason. So that's why you find different degrees of greening on different copies of the card, as far as my understanding goes. Troy's Collectible says, good words, Adam. Take a chance on the bottom cards. You never know. You might make some treats. You might get some treats.
I get some treats. Yeah, he's right.
And Brendan says, Adam, do you have plans to issue cards in your magazine like Sports Illustrated for Kids did back in the day, and Legends did it too, and a few others? What do you think?
We have a couple of ideas that are actually I'm super excited about. The question is always just related to the cost of printing. Printing is really expensive. You know, you guys can tell real quick if you just look. It's a high gloss magazine. It costs about as much to print and distribute the magazine as it actually costs for you guys to purchase it. So we don't make money on that. We only make any money because we have wonderful sponsors like PWCC that that sponsor us and help us to do okay on it. But yeah, we would love to do something like that. Just getting cards to be perforated in the magazine though is problematic. And then there's some other licensing things that are kind of tough there too. So but we do have some interesting ideas. So watch for the future, and we will consider it and see what happens.
Very good. It would be cool if you put cards in there, though. I mean, you'd need licensing and all that, I believe. So probably be quite a few hurdles to get through. But hey, you make the right friends. You never know. Could definitely happen. The Max Verstappen Topps Dynasty, beautiful card with the Red Bull logo, just really well placed. Card is numbered out of 10, just hit $30,000. That would be $36,000 out the door, as Erk says, or with the buyer's premium. And this McGrady's been sitting here. Seems like there's one or two people. Looks like we're seeing the same card come up over and over again. There must be a little bit of bidding war going on some of these right now. We are in the 2-minute level of extended bidding. So no bid for any 2-minute period, and the auction will end. And in 25 minutes, we'll be down to the 1-minute windows, and we'll see how deep we get into those. This card seems to have jumped from 12,000 to 29 in the last 10 minutes or so since I last looked at it. I believe that's what just happened. The Messi PSA 9. Very good. Why don't we scroll down? We've now, actually, I'm going to go back to this window here. These are sorted by highest price. So look at the Kobe Black 101, Adam. It has made its way to the top of the page.
Yeah, it's tied. The three big cards there are tied for the. And you know, we always see fireworks at the end because, Jeremy, if you really want the card, what do some people do? They wait till the end. They wait till they feel like the bidding's about to end, then they put in their real serious bid. I think, you know, we're not going to see a three-way tie here, I don't think. I think we're going to see one of these maybe rise above the others, or maybe something jump over them. So it'll be fun to see.
Definitely be fun to see. Later tonight, everybody, John Wee, the founder of the Center Stage app, will be joining me on After Hours. We will go live 5 or 10 minutes after this show ends. And next week, Saturday, March 26th, no episode of Sports Cards Live. I will be at the Mint Collective. And I'm going to be doing Saturday night in Vegas, guys. Saturday night in Vegas with whatever event is going on for the Mint. I will be taking part there. So I'm going to take a week off of Sports Cards Live. I guess there's 3 L's in collective. In the ticker. I need to change that up a little bit. So why don't we just fix that really quick here? Boom, save, done.
I wish I got to hear your thing that you're participating in. I will not be there. I have a really difficult busy season. My March is my hardest month of the year, and there's just no chance that I can get away for it. So wish you well and hope that everything goes well at that event for you.
Well, I appreciate that. I'll miss the opportunity to have potentially seen you there, but I'm looking forward to seeing everybody at the Mint Collective. I'll be participating, or actually moderating, 2 of the signature sessions. One is on Friday evening and one is on Sunday morning. And then I will be hanging out at the marketplace, walking the floor, checking out everyone's wares, and sort of headquartered at the combined Trade Safe Card Ladder booth, repping Trade Safe, hanging out with the Card Ladder folks, and just there to meet people who I've only been, who we've been dealing with remotely on the various platforms for so many months. I'm looking forward to that for sure. And if you're going to be at the Mint Collective, let me know. Make sure if you spot me. I don't know what everybody looks like out there. If you spot me and you're a viewer of the show, please introduce yourself. I really want to meet you and just be able to put a face to the screen name. Definitely look forward to that.
Hey, Jeremy, we talked a lot about what my favorite card is in this auction. It's not lost on me that we haven't talked about yours. Do you have a favorite card in this auction?
Here, I'll click on my favorites because I did favorite a few. So let's see what I favorited. And then I'll tell you which is my favorite in it. So I favorited the Joe Jackson. There we go. I favorited this one. I favorited this card because I have this card in a 6. So I want to see where this one sold, what this one does. And mine is as nice as this one. I just love this card every time it comes up. It's a really nice patch.
We've got some great exquisite stuff. We haven't talked about it a lot, but there is some amazing exquisite stuff in this auction tonight. There is.
We've got the numbers numbers pieces out of 23 from exquisite. Of course, the LeBron. I thought this was just a cool dual auto of Jordan and LeBron James. 6 of 25, LeBron's rookie year. Is this an under the radar card at a paltry $36K?
I think so. And the reason is because it's from LeBron's rookie year.
You sort of inspired me to favorite this because you have a good eye. I was trying to impress you. Are you impressed that this made my favorite list?
I am very impressed that this makes your favorite list because, again, most people see this and they go, oh, cool, a Jordan LeBron dual autograph, which is nothing to sneeze at. I mean, a Jordan LeBron autograph is just an awesome thing to behold. It is from LeBron's rookie year. It is one of the earlier versions of LeBron's autograph. It's a great looking autograph. Why is it in the blue label? Can we tell?
I don't think so.
Okay. It says authentic. It's not like altered or anything, so that's good.
No, I think it's just authentic. I did look to see if they were sticker autos. I
No,
believe they are not.
they're not.
So this is
100%.
on card rookie. What's it called? Rookie impressions. Only 25 copies made. I mean, this to me is. I'm surprised it's so cheap. And I mean, 36K is a ton of money. But listen, we've got over 25 cards in this auction that are well past 100 grand already. 36 is chump change for this auction. And I just think, based on what you've taught me and what I've seen, this one seemed under the radar for me. I've never seen the card before.
Add to it that it's LeBron's Heat jersey number 6, and then let's just pretend for a second that instead of saying impressions, it said exquisite. Suddenly, it's worth 4 to 5 to 6 times what it's at. Like you just were kind enough to say something that I've taught you. Something that you have taught me is like, look at something and say, do the math. Like compare this to something else that is maybe something that's known, and then ask the question, like, what would the number be on that? There are opportunities to do that, and then to find something to say, hey, and then you can market it like that. You can say, look, this is a dual autograph from the rookie year. What if this was an exquisite card? Because if you do, again, you can sell it at at 20, 30, 40% what it's going to sell for here, and it's going to still seem like a great deal compared to the more known card.
Yeah, I mean, so I hear what you're saying, but when you said, and then you can market it this way, so that obviously speaks to someone who's buying it to sell it for a profit. And I think there's something to that, because part of that is educating the hobby, or educating the market, with not just educating as if you're sharing fact, but you're sharing a way of looking at things, and you're sharing your thoughts on it. And so I do see that. I think, oh, it just got a bid, right? That's why I just went blue. It just got a bid as we're sitting here talking about it. I feel kind of cool, but I also feel a little guilty. I don't know. But the other thing about it is that why it might be low, the price might be low, is this label is far from attractive. It's
bad.
I mean, Beckett's white label is also far from attractive, but this is kind of a bit of an eyesore, I feel. And maybe that's what's bringing it down. But for me, that's not a reason not to buy the card, because I would just crack it out of this and either submit it under their regular service and try and get a normal label in the slab, or I would try with a different grading company. But because then it comes down to really the aesthetics of the whole object, not just the card. You want it to present well, and this just does not present well. I don't know many cards that do present well with this blue label, though. So, and
that's part of the marketing, right? Like, that's part of the opportunity here. When I say that, by the way, I don't mean anything devious by it, right? You put that in a card show, in a case, and say there's somebody who's walking around and they've got a $50,000, $60,000 budget for the show. They're looking for something that's a dual. They're going to look at that. They're going to compare it to some of their other options, and they're going to go, gosh, this is a no-brainer, right? The people do the same thing when they buy a car, when they buy an automobile. They look at it and they say, well, gosh, this has everything that I want. It just has a different name. Maybe I should buy this. Yeah. And there's nothing sinister there. It is just what it is.
And save some money. Now there's another bid. It's up to 42, as Matt Jones points out in the chat. I'll go to a couple quick comments. I'm going to scroll to the top so we can see what bids are coming in. Oh, there, look at that. That's a beautiful PSA 7 Bobby Orr, by the way.
It is. There's that tray. There's that 101 that Lamim's going to buy. Just kidding.
Go Lamim, go. See, I don't like this card, though, Adam. I don't like the autograph on it. Like, listen.
Jeremy, if it wasn't autographed, this card would be so much money. I mean, the 1/1 black out of Prism of Trae Young is... So if it's not $1 million, it's close to it. So that's why it's what it's at right now.
So the autograph is actually hurting the card, and I agree with that. I'd rather have no autograph than that autograph on there, and he has a crappy autograph anyway. But yeah, the autograph just kind of takes away from the overall presentation of the card, as far as my opinion goes. Okay, a couple of quick comments here. Jake Dahl, I love getting Hockey Hall of Fame vintage jersey cards. Yeah, that's really cool. Dave Bolaton likes the Ted Williams. I think we've seen I think it's a 55 or 56 Ted Williams go by a few times. I hear you on that. Troy tells me that I should do a live stream beside the blackjack table. Come on. And T-Dot lets me know he's coming to Razz me in Edmonton. Yeah, I will be at the Edmonton Expo April 15th to 17th. And looking forward to meeting you, T-Dot. And my Flames are up 4-0. That's pretty darn good. I will take it. Andy Mack says Calgary Flames, Toronto Maple Leafs, Stanley Cup final. I would be down for that for sure. That would be good for the hobby, having the Toronto Maple Leafs in the Stanley Cup final with their US-born superstar Austin Matthews, who's leading the league in goals this year with, I think, like 45 already, really doing amazing things. Don't sleep on Austin Matthews. All right. Well, Erk Myers should be joining us momentarily, I believe. Eric, I look forward to having you join. And okay, so let's go back down now. And we are on my favorites still. That's where we were. We got sidetracked, Adam. Okay, I'm going to go through the rest of my favorites, and then I will tell you what my overall favorite card is. This is another one where I'm like, okay, this is the playoff contenders ticket auto. I believe it's numbered. Is this one numbered out of 200? So it's numbered. Well, you think about the Tom Brady, right? His championship ticket's numbered to 100. The base card is not numbered. And here we have Peyton Manning, arguably, a top 3 quarterback of all time, give or take. And it's at 36,000, where the Brady goes for hundreds of thousands. BGS 8 with a 10 auto. I mean, another card that feels undervalued to me, but that's just me. So let's keep going. My third row, I favorited the Alex Ovechkin emblems of endorsement, the Max Verstappen Red Bull card, 1 out of 10, the Alex Ovechkin SP Authentic Future Watch Auto. This card, if this card ends at 25,000 plus juice, that's 30, or plus the or out the door, as Eric calls it. So that's $30,000 out the door. I think that's at least a $10,000 decrease that we will see on Card Ladder when these auctions get published tomorrow. These results get published tomorrow or soon thereafter. The Wilt SGC 7.5 61 Fleer rookie is at $24,000. That's on my favorite list because I love the card.
That's a beautiful copy.
Actually, I put this one on here and the 7 because, full disclosure, I own a PSA 7.5, so I'm always curious to see what these comparable cards would sell for. Here we have the LeBron rookie year jambalaya, which I do love. There's these 2 cards we've talked about already, the hockey cards, and then the LeBron, which I mentioned earlier that I had my eye on. But no, I did not place any bids this month, and this is one where I would like to go back in time and put in a bid. Dave Bulletin says Peyton is not top 3. I'll take Bradshaw over Manning. I mean, that's fair. Just that Bradshaw's, from 30 years earlier. So it's kind of like I get it. I do get it. There's Joe Namath. There's a bunch of other guys that are in the discussion.
Feels like the bids are hot and heavy right now, Jeremy. They're coming in pretty quick.
Let's go to the top and see. Well, we have 12 minutes left in the 2-minute window, and then we're going to move into the 1-minute window, and that's where it's going to heat up and end, relatively quickly, this auction overall. So we will see. We will see. Joe Perot says Zaga versus Memphis is a barn burner. Little March Madness action going on. Carl Daly says, I think it's going to be Tampa Bay versus Colorado Avalanche in the Stanley Cup. You're probably right, although I hope you're wrong. But Colorado is just a great team.
How about the 0304 Chrome case? That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
I didn't even really notice that one until right now. But, man, I think, we talked about this before, but I think people have some nervousness about some of the sealed cases after, really public story about the Pokemon case that went badly. But wax is just the best thing in the world. It's outstanding shares that are constantly decreasing. It's just a fantastic investment.
That is the argument for holding wax, right? But the more people that hold it, the longer it takes for that story to play out. And that's what we're seeing a lot of. We're seeing a lot of people sitting on a lot of wax. And I don't mean collectors per se. I mean investors, I mean breakers, maybe LCSs who are sitting, and smart of them, distributors perhaps, sitting on a lot of wax because the less of it out there, the higher the value, the perceived value of it is, and then it just turns into the actual value. So
I've done it, and I've done really well with it. But there is something different about an 0304 chrome case than sort of the wax that most people are holding.
Yeah, that's special wax, right? That's like 86 Fleer wax. That's like 79 O-Pee-Chee Hockey, or there is special it's not vintage yet, but it's important. It's just important wax, right? Whereas if you're buying 18, 19, 20, 21 Prism basketball cases and sitting on them, I mean, there are important cards in there, of course, but it's ultra modern and it's speculative. Even it's all speculative still, all the years I just mentioned. Even though Luka is a stud, and Jaw and Trey and all these guys are amazing players. Zion still has potential and a lot of hope people have for that. So, but it's all speculative still.
Yeah, it is. So. Yeah, I would love an 03 chrome case like that. I highlighted this article in here, the missing grails one. Can you imagine if LeBron had a superfractor from his rookie year? Holy crap. That would just be, and if it hadn't been found at this point, what an unopened case would be worth of that would be amazing. Obviously we know his chrome gold is his best card from that product, but man, you just wish that Topps could go back in time and instead of starting the superfractors a year later in 04, they would have just started 1 year earlier. Would have changed everything.
Okay, let's see what else we have. Dave Bolaton, how are the Penguins this year? The Penguins are doing well this year, actually, Dave. You can check the stats pretty much anywhere and see how they're ranking, but they're doing well. Crosby had 2 goals tonight, which was good to see. Also says there have been a few other fake sealed wax products out there lately. Goes on to say it's the problem when you have self-proclaimed experts operating in the hobby. So, I mean, I understand the comment. The one thing I'll say to that is that the self-proclaimed experts are often the people who do have the most experience with it, and they do make mistakes. And I'm not here to defend the person who was implicated or the company that was implicated with that Pokemon case. I'm just saying the general term of self-proclaimed experts, you really have to do your due diligence on these individuals and see how much experience do they have and learn a bit about it. Even go to the extent of going to the National or somewhere, meeting them and asking them before you put a bunch of your money into their sign off and their opinion. And then it just becomes a bit of a buyer beware, a little bit of a how much risk are you willing to take? Because there's probably no one who's better at it. So you got to understand the experience they have and then proceed accordingly, proceed cautiously. WNBA says Bradshaw only had 1 season with a completion rate over 60%. Manning had 15. That's a stat I wasn't aware of. So, but that's a huge stat, actually. I mean, now if Manning's 15 seasons over 60 were all 60.5 or 61, and Bradshaw had 20 seasons at 59, it doesn't make a difference. But if the numbers aren't that close together, then that could be a big deal for sure. Dave says Manning wouldn't have lasted 3 games that Bradshaw played. He'd have broken in half, maybe. Be a long conversation, but if you compare to Stamps, you have a nonprofit operating in each major country that offers expert service. Okay. Brady is much larger. He is much larger than Bradshaw. He would have been fine. Okay. I'll leave that conversation to you guys for now on. And T-Dot says experienced opinions should be insured. I mean, PSA does that. PSA guarantees their opinion. So that's definitely something. And Vintage says, Jeremy, please comment on the Manning contenders. The auto is not a 10, maybe when it was slab, but it's fading, which happened with 98 contenders. Interesting. Thanks for pointing that out, Vintage. We will take a look at that. But in the meantime, let's bring out Erk. Give me a wave if you're ready, buddy. There is the wave. And there is Mr. Erk Myers. Welcome to the show. How are you, Erk?
Doing good.
Good to have you. Good to have you back. You've had a couple months off the show. We had Jesse on last month, Jesse Craig from PWCC, he was a great addition, but it's nice to have our regular back. So what's going on? Where are you? Are you in Korea right now?
Yeah, I'm back in Korea. I think on your last episode, I had COVID. January. I was stuck in Dallas for 2 weeks with COVID. It was rough for a week, but thankfully, by the grace of God, I made it through and I'm back in full health.
Good stuff. You want to say, why don't you guys say hi to each other?
Hey, Adam, how's it going?
Dude, I'm just glad you're here. I don't really like Jesse. It wasn't good when he was here. So I'm glad that you're back.
Thank you.
Erk back, Adam.
Always honored to be here. Always just a great pleasure to be here.
Everything is back to normal. We can get back to our regular pace. Everything is good. We have Erk Myers back on the show with us on Instagram as Howley Hustle. Hustle, because he was living in Hawaii and he is a card. Are you a card hustler? Is that fair to say, or does that have negative connotation?
No, that's the truth. Yeah, I do it for a hobby and to make money. So got to hustle to feed the family.
And so you are a consignment concierge, or that's sort of your title with PWCC. Why don't you tell people, what do you do? Because you are employed by PWCC.
Yes,
tell the audience what you do at PWCC for those who may not know.
Consignment concierge. I help people with their portfolios and manage their portfolios, get them shipping labels, teach them about everything we have to offer, whether it be vault loans, auction advances. We offer 50% of market value on advances. We also do vault loans, and just teach them the ropes how to network our system, and also give them, to the best of my ability, my knowledge, my historical database, if you will, of where I project things could potentially go, what tend to be historical good places to park money.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for the for the explanation. I just think it's worth. I mean, it's just good for us to mention that and let people know what you do. Adam, have I been breaking up at all for the last little bit?
No, I sent you a text earlier, very early in the show. You had a couple moments, but you're good and have been for a couple hours now. Hey, Eric, I wanted to know, do you have anything that you're watching in this auction so far where you're thinking, oh wow, this is interesting, or is there anything? What's standing out to you right now?
Well, there's two that are standing out to me. One, the Charizard, just blown away that it's in the like 336 out the door. So 280 before buyer premium, 336. The fact that it broke that 280 precipice, very impressive. I know that the Pokemon market as a whole is probably up about 10% the past month or so. So that there's a lot of strength there. The fact that Charizards are showing a good trajectory. It's been a minute since we've seen them above 300, and I'm glad they're there. That one, I think the best value here for an upper end card is the Jordan PSA 10, the Jordan Auto 9.5. Those two, I think, below what I perceive them to be market value. But in regards to lower end cards, there was a Kobe Auto. I'm just kind of biased there, right? I do a lot of Kobe Autos. It was, last time I checked, it was 10,000. Let me see if it's moved any. Looked like it might have moved. Let me keep looking. And it seems really inexpensive for what it is. It's BGS 9.5. Let me see. I'm looking for it. Yeah, it's 11,000. SP signatures, gold, number to 50. It's at $11,000. That one, I'm shocked that that's not a lot higher. That's a $25,000, $30,000 card from my historical references.
Jeremy and I were talking earlier about how there's so much good stuff now that two things can simultaneously be true. One, we can see lots of records, and two, there can still be deals to be had. And so, especially the auction model now, which is extended bidding that requires you to have bids in early, it behooves each of us to look at the auction before you get to the extended bidding, and to place bids on a ton of stuff that might go low. Because I'm not sure how you know that card better than I do. I actually don't know what it should be selling for, but if that's the case, then you'd be silly not to go place a bid on it if you could go sell it somewhere for a higher price. So I think that's something that's important to watch for subsequent auctions for sure.
Yeah, the non-gold version sells for about $8 or $9 grand. So to get a gold, it should be 3x. I think it's $25,000, $30,000 easy, at least mid 20s, 25. It's setting a 13.2 out the door. Like you said, there's two aspects. You can look for things that you can invest in and you feel undervalued to get some type of ROI in the near future. Or 2, get things for long-term holds or more personal collections. This is one that would fit the first.
We are about a minute away from the next window or the next stage of extended bidding. We are there now with a 1 minute extended bidding. So now, Erk, correct me if I'm wrong, but as soon as there are no bids on any cards for 1 minute, the whole auction will end.
That's it.
That's
Game
it.
over then. That's it. Just so get the bids in if you want it. And it really starts to pick up, we noticed from us doing this, right? Once it hits that 1 minute window, bids start flying in, because it goes from 60 seconds to 10 seconds real fast,
Yeah. And if you're bidding on multiple cards, you have to juggle, you have to spend that 60 seconds very carefully so you can get your bids in.
Yeah. It's happening right now. I don't know if you guys are watching, but the bids are flying right now.
And I wonder if every single one is going to make its way to the top of the ticker here, or if there's so many that we're only seeing every third or fourth bid. I don't know the answer to that question, but I'd love to find out from PWCC if every bid hit the ticker up here, or if 2 bids hit at the exact same time, does it just put them up successively, or does it skip a few? I don't know the answer. Erk, do you know that answer?
I believe it should show them, but if some of them are coming in too fast, it could miss a few. I believe all of them are supposed to show, but once we get down to this close windows, they come streaming in.
What's interesting right now, I don't know if you guys are noticing this, but we're clearly seeing a lot of bids, but the extended bidding thing is not resetting right now, which I don't know why that's happening.
It reset it. There it goes. Okay.
Okay. It got all the way down in the 20s, but we
that.
see bids quickly, so that was kind of confusing to me.
I think it just takes the clock a few seconds to register what's happening, and then it will reset. As we've seen, it should be resetting. It should have reset it a couple times already, but it keeps on ticking down.
Right.
But you know that it's going to reset. There it goes back to 55. CS has a question. No ignorant question, CS, but does the buyer's premium or the hammer price get published on Card Ladder PSA auction history? I can't speak to the PSA auction history, but it does get published on Card Ladder CS. It definitely does. Card Ladder does import all the data from the PWCC auctions. I can't speak to the PSA auction history, however.
Correct. Yeah, I can't either. No, I agree.
Skeppy says the Jordan sticker is getting up there. The Prism sticker, yes, it is. I saw that go by as well at like 34K or something like that. LaMelo RPA's at 44K. The McDavid's at 17, way over there. Here's the Trae Young Gold Auto at 28,000. White Sparkle Luca, 22,000 for a PSA 9. We've seen this card get bids tonight. Lamar Jackson.
The Kaboom Golds are definitely having a moment too. I think I saw the Steph is at 55. I think that's what I saw.
What are your thoughts on that Steve Young?
You heard us talking about it before?
Yeah, that's it's pop 9. I mean, but
well, what are your thoughts, Erk? I mean, we were talking about what would you rather have, the Steve Young PSA 10 or the Jerry Rice? Where do you fall?
Rice. I'm going to say Rice, but the thing is, so yes, I would rather have the Rice. But if you already have a Rice and you need the Young, because there's only 9 of them, I believe there's 67 or 68 Jerry Rices. So those will come up a little bit more often. The Steve Young, you might see one come up every 2.5, 3 years. So you might be 2025 before another one comes around. So if you're going to pay 100 now, you're probably going to want to pay 100 later. So
that's a beautiful. That Tatum RPA's got a bid up to 80K. Triple Auto, LeBron, Magic, and Jordan at 21,000. SGC 910. We got there's the Brady Kaboom Gold at 28.5. The LeBron Topps Gold second year PSA 10 22.5. Brady Kaboom Gold hits 30. Nice LeBron Exquisite. Oh, look, back-to-back LeBron Exquisites. 19K on the little patch and 30 for the signature patch and 35K on the limited logos. I want to go back and talk about that Peyton Manning autograph, which I will in a second here, but there's just so much action up top that it's hard to take my eyes away. We got Magic. We got a beautiful Jaw. What a beautiful card. That is a stunner of a card right there, that Flawless. One of my cards, or one of my favorite cards that I favorited is the Jordan numbers patch. Here's D Wade, limited logos from the inaugural year of Exquisite. Oh, this isn't, Eric, why is this in an authentic holder? Do you have any idea on the jambalaya?
No, I have no idea.
I'd look at the back, Jeremy. What we've seen over and over again on those is the back is where the problems are. I bet you we're going to see something when we do that.
All right.
I haven't looked at it, but
we'll go take a quick look at that here. I don't want to leave this screen for too long, but you look at that. Giannis Immaculate hit 67. Charizard gets another bid, Eric. It's up to 290.
Hey, that's in the lead now.
That's healthy. That's a healthy price for sure. I mean, it was healthy a while ago, but for the time, definitely. All right, let's go here for a quick second. Take a look at the back of this card and see why it might be deemed authentic versus getting graded. Now, I don't know if the submitter just wanted it to be called authentic and not have a grade, or is it, I don't know, this looks pretty narrow here, this little bit here.
Look in the middle of the card right next to his head, Jeremy.
Yep.
There we go. Some paper loss.
That's why.
Okay.
That card would still, I mean, I've seen cards with as much as that still have like a 7 or an 8 on this card. And that sounds high, but it wouldn't shock me to see that card get a 6 or a 7. Probably an 8's probably too high, but yeah, I mean, if you wanted to own a Jordan Jambalaya, like that's you don't want to spend 6 figures, like it's not a bad way to go.
This isn't that bad. I mean, listen, it's not good. Don't get me wrong. It's not good, but to me is not worthy of putting it in an authentic holder instead of an actual graded holder. So look how sweaty his head is here. Like, wow. But yeah, this could be a lot worse. That's not so bad to me. If that's the reason why the submitter said, "Oh, just make it authentic." But I don't think that's something that people say. I think that this is, maybe there's something else going on. I don't know. I'm not sure, but still a beautiful card in any event. Let's take a peek. Sorry, go ahead, Eric.
Me personally, if it was going to grade a 6, I would rather it just be an authentic holder. Me personally, yeah, because it's going to sell for the same price. You know, like Adam said, an 8, different story. 7, it's on the fence. If it's a 6, 6.5, give me an authentic.
All right, I'm going to do some comments here, guys. We're in the minute window here, so anything can happen. But keep your eyes on this right here. When this gets down to under 10 seconds, the auction could be ending very soon. I'm going to go to some comments right now, though. CS has always loved the collective commentary. Eric's ability to identify the street price and the arbitrage opportunities is fascinating. Jay says, anyone that invests in any ultra-modern cards is a dolt. All right. I think there's a few people here that you might have offended with that, Jay, but you are entitled to your opinion. Slab Strong, our boy Tim, says, what is the current bid on an hour with Eric? Man, I'll start it at $100 right now. $100 for an hour with Eric right now. Please, somebody outbid me. Please, somebody outbid me. I'm just kidding, Eric. Eric, you're worth every penny, buddy. You're worth every penny.
You see that Zard? 384.
384. Oh, out the door.
That's all-time record high. I think is 400 or 415.
Oh wow! So it's catching up to the all-time high. That's kind of cool to see. Jambalaya Authentic gets another bid. The PSA 6 Mantle gets another bid to 48,000. Couple more comments. Dave saw Babe Ruth go by. I noticed that too, Dave. Mac Attack says, hey, Jeremy, what do you have to pay for? I'm dying for you to click that button. I said it's the same 4 as I had to pay for last time, guys. These are like little curating invoices. None of those 4 invoices is over $2. So I think overall I owe them like $2 or $3 or $4. Trust me. I'll show you later. It's nothing exciting. I wish I had a better answer for that, but I don't. I just don't. We had a bid of $60 for an hour with Eric right there.
Oh man,
I'm going the wrong direction.
Card Ladder says that's okay. We're rolling it over, Timmy boy. I must have missed something, but I'm sure it's funny. Mac Attack, can Eric explain what a power buyer is on PWCC? Never noticed that before. Eric, what is a power buyer?
I haven't been fully abreast to that situation. I think it's top 20 buyers. There's a threshold that just got instilled like the past week. I haven't got all the qualifiers of what is considered a power buyer. I know there's a threshold of either what you have bid or what you have purchased, and I'm not sure what that threshold is.
There you go. Hope that was helpful. Dave says it can't be a 7 with paper loss. It's a 2. So, I mean, that's instructive if it's correct. I'm not doubting you, Dave, but just, haven't verified. And T-Dot says, I use ultra-modern cards to pick my teeth. Well, you'd be very good friends with our friend up here, Jay. You guys will get along very well, I got to think. Very good, very good. Is the hour with Erk PSA authenticated, asks Carl Daly. That's a really good question. We'll have to read the fine print. We'll have to read the fine print. Hey, there's our bid. I got outbid for 101. Thank God I don't have to pay that bill.
Hey,
just kidding, Erk. I'll buy you a beer, that's for sure.
Thank you.
Jeremy, I noticed Josh Dawson in the chat said, wish I had money, I'd pick up the MJ Ultra Stars Gold, my favorite MJ insert period. I like this because we've had a few of these where it's like we have various MJ inserts going head to head here. Now, I guess it's not really head to head, but we have a Jambalaya, we have an Ultra Stars Gold, and we have a Playmakers Theater all in the same auction. I wonder from you two, how would you ranking, forget the grades for a second. How would you rank those 3 grades aside?
Erk, you want to go first?
Well, Playmakers Theater is on a whole nother level. I mean, that's on a whole nother spectrum here. I love the Ultra Stars Gold, but I'm biased because I have 2 Kobe's, right? So I've got 2 9.5 Kobe Ultra Stars Gold, so I'm completely biased. I think though at that level, they start to bottleneck. You have once you go down below PMG, you then put up against Playmakers Theater, and then the Ultra Stars Gold and Jambalaya. Those 3 are like the next tier down of what everybody's chasing. And then in the same area, maybe just a tick. Well, I guess the exact same area, a titanium number to 40. Those are the 4 that everybody wants, and they just don't come up. So you're going to fight for them whenever you see them. I'm interested to see what a PSA 10 Jambalaya. I think it hit 175 to 215 next time a PSA 10 Jordan Jambalaya comes to the market. So that's the real one that I'm looking forward to see. I'm honestly kind of underwhelmed to a certain degree. I thought the Ultra Stars Gold Jordan would probably do $1.25 to $1.40. I did. I think that's what it's worth, But again, I'm biased to have a Kobe, so you don't have to listen to me on that one.
For me, Adam, it's really simple for me. First of all, the Ultra Stars Gold is at the bottom end for me. It is not my favorite insert. I don't like it as much as Josh and many others do, but I know a lot of people love it, and that's wonderful. For me, the Jambalaya is number 1 on my list. It's the card that represents what I love in the hobby right now. So Jambalaya first. Second, and a close second, is the Playmakers Theater. I do love the card. I have a Shaquille O'Neal Playmakers Theater from the same year. I love it. But I like the football cards better. The football PMTs are nicer. So, but I still love the basketball. And then the Ultra Stars Gold, to be honest, it's not even really on my radar. It's not a card that I desire. Now, if I could get a great price on one, or the right thing happened at the right time, and everything just worked out, I'd grab one and add it to my collection. But it's not. There are cards that are much higher on my list for me. How about you?
I love your answers, Jeremy. We're pretty aligned, I think if I was to ask you guys this question, something to think about. We have to talk about it now, but if you're to just say which Jordan from the 90s is most iconic, you're going to say the PMG, the red and the green. And when you think about which card is second, it's interesting. Just think about that sometime. But let's keep going. I know there's a million comments coming.
Let me backtrack, Jeremy. So somebody just slacked me the answer. So power buyer in the sort and filter section allows for the filtering of assets based on an algorithm that compares assets' current asking price to the PWCC value data. If the current price of an asset represents a potentially beneficial buying opportunity, then it's listed among the results.
Oh,
so
it
recognizes potential arbitrage, lack of better, layman's terms.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, we'll go back to some comments now, because Adam did mention we've got a whole bunch. Well, Mac Attack bid $2 on an hour with Erk. This is Josh's comment about the MJ Ultra Stars Gold, and it is a nice card, but I do have an Ultra Stars Gretzky up there behind me, so it's not that I don't like it. Joe Pro says, how's that Kobe Black doing? That's a good question, Joe Perot. Let's go back to all items and we'll take a peek. While that is loading, Hits and Chick says, if I'm looking to spend $25K on basketball, where do I go? Help SOS. I think you go give Erk Myers a call. Is that right, Eric?
Oh, yeah. We'll find you some great deal.
There's the Kobe. It's at over $300,000 now with the buyer's premium, which is 20%. So, yeah, that card is doing quite well right now. But look at this. This is now over $400,000 for the Charizard PSA 10 first edition, shadowless, hollow, like a pretty crazy card. 340 plus 68 is $408,000 right now for this card out the door. That is what the buyer will pay. We'll go back to the top. I love this 53 Topps mantle. What a beautiful, beautiful card. In the meantime, let's go back here. T-Dot thinks that the PSA 4 mantle might be cheap. Sports Card Fanatics. Sports Card Fanatics. I don't know what you're talking about, so we'll ignore you. Skeppy says Dolt means determined, obsessive, lucrative trader. I like that. I like that. Way to turn a negative into a positive, Skeppy, which Troy agrees with. CS says watching that clock turn over and over when you've got a bid in is so stressful. Where would you? Oh, it's about to reset again, and there it goes. There it goes. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Vintage, for the reminder to look at the Manning auto. We'll do that right now. And Billy says, does PWCC auction graded autographs of non-card items? I believe that they will do non-card items. Okay, let's have a look at the Peyton Manning, though. Where did I put it? Not here. Not here.
While you're looking for that Duncan PMG 8, I think last recorded sale publicly was 26 grand. So it's gone from 26 to 84,000 in less than about 8 months, I believe.
Wow. That's big. That's big. Okay, guys, let's have a look at this card here. So you might have seen I was looking at the card earlier, not too long ago, maybe 10 minutes ago. And some in the chat mentioned, first of all, this card is graded a BGS 8 with a 10 auto. And someone in the chat mentioned that the autograph is not a 10, or at least it's not a 10 anymore. And when I zoom in, and when we zoom in and we look at it, I mean, we can clearly see that a significant portion of the autograph being like the bottom of what I think would be a G is very streaky throughout. And it is not a nice solid laydown of the ink. So I would agree that, I'm not an autograph grader, but to me, this is a subpar autograph quality. I don't know if this is a stray dot or if that's supposed to be the dot on top of the I in Manning. I just don't know what that's doing there. And then you see more of that streak right here in the P. And, you can zoom right in on this. And, that's the max zoom right there. But you see some bubbling here. You got the streakiness all in here. There's even this little bit that kind of rolls off. I don't know if that's in the card or if that's ink, but it does look to not be a perfect auto. You've got this stroke right here with a pen. I looked at that before, and I mean, yeah, to me, this autograph is not a 10. But as I saw was being chatted about in the chat here, is that these 98 playoff contenders are notorious for the autographs fading. So if that happens, then, I don't know what you do about that, especially if you're keeping it in a dark, dry sort of place. What do you do about that? Probably nothing. And the grade would have been what it was at the time. But then I noticed that the corners were graded a 7.5, and we had a close look. And obviously the top left corner is the main culprit. And that's pretty noticeable. Is that enough to take it all the way down to a 7.5? I don't know. I'm no grader. But when you come down even further and you look at the other corners, they weren't too bad. I mean, this one has some edge issue over there. There's definitely a corner issue there. So, I mean, I wouldn't be disappointed if this was my card and I had 7.5 on the corners or an 8 on the edges, because we have seen some indications that could be more than warranted. So, and I'll just trust in this case, or at least have some faith in the grading process. So, alrighty, that's that. That's this card here at $36,000, where the Tom Brady of the same set from a different year is at like 200 and something, I believe. All right, back to comments for a moment. Where do we leave off here?
I was impressed that the Playmakers Theater has stalled at 216. Really thought it was going to go a little bit higher, but it's still a really strong number. I think we had it estimated at 185 or 190. So, it's still about roughly, 10%, give or take a little.
Which one was that? Sorry.
The Playmakers Theater, PSA 10 Jordan.
Yeah. Pop
We were
3,
talking. Oh, sorry, Jeremy.
No. I was just saying, to Joshua Adams' comment earlier, if I had the money, that's the card I'd be going for is the PMT, the Playmakers Theater Jordan PSA 10. I might go out on a limb right now without going through all 293 lots in the auction today and say that that's my favorite card in the auction. To answer Adam's question from earlier, the Jordan Playmakers Theater. I mean, I might have said a Jambalaya Jordan, but I already have one, so I'm not going to. If I were to have, unlimited money, I think I'd go for the Playmakers Theater tonight.
We know PSA 8s and BGS 8s have sold for 80 or 90 grand. And so our question earlier, Eric, was, what kind of multiplier do you put on a PSA 10 of a card that's already worth so much, even in a lower grade? And, a multiple of only like 2.5, doesn't seem like it's, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's as high as I would have guessed right now. But having said that, I fully acknowledge, I don't know. To me, owning the card was the important thing, not owning it in a specific grade. But to some people, grade just matters more than anything. So it's interesting.
Well, so I've noticed a trend. So it's a thing called floors and ceilings. At some point, one tier insert, it gets to a certain point and it starts butting up against the other one. So what can you get into a PMG for? And once you start talking about, 260, 280, 300, people start thinking, well, do I want to go to the Playmakers Theater and push that to 250, 270? Or do I just pay 300 and get a PMG? Right. So they start to bottleneck those upper echelon, those second tier inserts start to bottleneck against the floor of the top tier insert. And it's like that for all. So I think that 180 to 235, 250 range is kind of where the same thing, whether it be a high grade titanium or maybe a PSA 10 Jambalaya, the Playmakers Theater, they're going to butt up against the floor of the PMG.
Well said. Albert Jones wants to know what we think about the Jordan 9098 Fleer Classic 61, numbered out of 61. Where does that rank? I feel like we just talked about this maybe on Clubhouse the other night. I remember Chris McGill was in on the discussion. And I remember myself saying, I don't like the card. It's not on my radar. It's not on my want list. Again, it's not a card that I dislike. I don't have anything against it, but it's not on my list anywhere of cards that I would be interested in owning. And I know it's very popular among many Jordan collectors. Some love it more than any other. So I know my opinion might be in the minority, but hey, that's what makes us all different. How about you guys? Adam, what do you think about the Fleer Classic 61 MJ?
Yeah, any Jordan parallel from that era is to some people just as good as it gets, and that's an incredible card, but it doesn't compare to the higher end of that range. At least that's not how the market has thought of it, and I kind of get it. It's you basically take the base card and add a little bit of shine. Whereas, some of the best parallels, there's something more significant happening to the card. Look at the rubies, for example. Look at the PMG Championship, the EX, credentials. You're seeing some real changes to the card. Whereas the classic 61, you basically get a little bit of a refractor shine, and that's not enough to. What's that?
I'm looking for that one. Where's that at price wise? Is that one in here in the auction or no?
I don't even know. I didn't notice it. So maybe it is, maybe it isn't.
Yeah, I'm biased. Sorry, I'm biased on that one. I have one. So.
Jordan?
No. Actually I do. I have a Jordan 61. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they make two variations. You have the green and the pink. Some people call it the red. So, and I think it's card number 23 is the pink. And then card number 142, it's 142 or 144 is the green. The pink is the more coveted of the two. They're both numbered to 61. There's only 61 of them. So at the end of the day, they're very limited print. It is what it is. I think if you're looking for potential arbitrage, it's probably a good play because it's already not a $100,000 card.
Yeah,
they're just hard to find anything above an 8.5. They're very different.
I don't think that card's in this auction.
No, it's not. I don't think so. I was looking. I was like, wait a minute. I didn't see it.
There's so many auctions, you kind of wonder, did I miss something? But yeah, I don't think that one's in this one.
CS says, every show, Adam has more material on his wall in the background. Nice improvements. As more and more magazines come out, he adds them to the wall for sure. Alex, I like this. This has quickly become my favorite hobby show content. It's all about cards and nothing else. The market selects them and you guys discuss them. Doesn't get much better. Thanks, Alex. That's a nice, concise way of wrapping up what we're doing here. June says the exact same Playmakers Theater PSA 10 Jordan sold for $182,000 on Golden Auctions in January of 2021. So we're seeing that card go around in circles, or at least be reoffered, and we'll see if the buyer of it is going to make any money with it as they dispose of it via PWCC. Troy says, great analysis on the Manning auto. Fading might be an issue. My 05 Peyton auto has solid ink throughout and is nowhere near that 1998. So it could just be the card itself or the surface that the ink is on. I am not sure at all how that would go. Vintage Card Collector, have you guys held a Playmakers in hand? I heard Josh from Card Ladder talk about how he was underwhelmed by Playmakers when he had one, and so he sold it. Yeah, I have. As I mentioned earlier, I have a Shaquille O'Neal. I think, Adam, you might have the Jordan. Is that right?
Yeah. As I mentioned, I've got a BGS 8 of the Jordan. This is what I talked about earlier. Some people really want a card that refracts. They want a card that does something in their hand. A Jambalaya moves, PMG, the way that it refracts and shines. A Playmakers Theater doesn't do that. What Playmakers Theater has and goes for it is it has this kind of like sheen to it, this gold sheen, and then it has this deep, deep emboss. And so that combined with the fact that like it's a Playing Days insert, numbered to 100 that came out of a $1 pack is what makes it what it is. It's different. It's very different. And then the other thing is it doesn't have any parallels, right? There's only 3 serial. This is a little known fact for you guys. There's only 3 serial numbered Jordans from his Playing Days that have no parallels. There's only 3. And that's the best one by a long shot. So I think about it, as one of the best Jordan inserts, but I agree. If you're somebody who wants a card to refract or do something special, it doesn't do any of that.
I agree. If the Classic 61 only had one version, it'd be worth easy 2x more. It'd probably be a $150,000 card if they made just 61 of them versus 122 of the parallel.
And I mean, I've held it in hand, as I mentioned. I have one, and to me, I'm not underwhelmed by it at all. And we all have our own opinions on everything. Just because Josh from Card Ladder was underwhelmed by the card, I've been underwhelmed by cards that him and other people like. So it's just an opinion, obviously. And no, I love it, to be honest. And I did a post. If you look at my Instagram, I did a post a while back where I put together the 3 Playmakers Theaters that I have, and they're all different. The basketball, Shaquille O'Neal from 97, the football, Dan Marino from 97, I believe, and the Wayne Gretzky hockey from 2012, which is different. It's got a very light embossing, not as deep as the other 2, but they're all beautiful cards. And I love all of them. So no, to me, not underwhelmed by it whatsoever. Okay, nice chat on go ahead, Eric.
There's a card. It's at $30,000. It's an F1 card, Max Verstappen. I don't know if y'all spoke about that one. That has probably my buddy used to actually own this card, and he sold it a while back, unfortunately. It's got probably one of the best patches I've seen on an F1 card. I absolutely love that card. The autograph's a little light, but Max is notorious for signing autographs a little light. However, the patch, and it's a PSA 10, is just, I love it. I absolutely love it. I don't know if y'all spoke about that card, but just want to throw F1 little love there on that one.
Well, we did talk about it a bit earlier. It's one of the cards that I did favorite, and I looked at it, and when I first saw it, I'm like, that is a gorgeous card with that amazing centering of the Red Bull logo. His autograph is fine. It's not bad. I think it's numbered out of 10, but they're all different because of the different patches. It's a beautiful card, and it's nice to see. It wasn't. I think it was at $20,000 when we saw it, so it's not. It's not a huge card, as far as this auction goes, but still a beauty for sure. And yes, we did touch on it. I'm going to go to this comment here by CS. A question for Erk: are there different market dynamics when cards go above $100,000? I.e., is the volatility any different? Just humbles me hearing him talk about cards north of 100,000 so matter of factly. Yeah, I know. And if you ever listen to Erk on Clubhouse, where he just, it's Erk collects cards of significant value, but he also it's his business. It's what he works in, and he's dealing with buyers who are buying high-end cards all the time. So that's why it's so matter of factly, because he's been completely desensitized to these values. Erk, but I'll let you answer CS's question about really are there different market dynamics that you've noticed when a card goes north of six figures?
Yeah, you want to spend a little bit more time studying the potential buyer base that you're going to be selling that card to. How organic is the growth? How long and stable is the growth? And ultimately, what is the true passion of the people that's going to be buying it? Are they relatively new in the hobby? Are they ingrained in the collecting a long period of time? And it's really where you want to start networking your friendships. Before you start spending six figures more on a card, you really want to pick people's brains who have been in that player's market for a while. They've mastered that player's market. They might not know anything else, but they know that player's market or that genre market. 90s Jordan inserts, 90s Kobe inserts, whether it be autographs. You want to be able to start bringing those people close into your heart, into your circle there. And that's because the air is really thin. You don't want to have somebody, rake you over the coals for a card just because they're looking to make a quick flip. You want to be able to do your due diligence, network with people who know what they're doing, who've been in it, and have a relatively good name.
Well said. Well said. Here's a question for Adam from Vintage Card Collector. What are the three numbered Jordan inserts without parallels?
That is the Great 8 out of Upper Deck. It's numbered to 800. That's the little known one that people will never get when you ask them that question. One that will take people a sec, but they'll get it, is the TakeIt2.net. It's numbered to 1,000. It's a really good looking card. It's exploded in the last couple of years, but not super rare. And then the Playmakers Theater. And literally that's it. That's the whole answer. Every other numbered Jordan insert from the Bulls days, they all have a parallel. Like Slam Bams, for example, I would put as probably the second best Jordan insert next to I call it the Gold Fusion. People call it the Titanium, but that just gets confusing. That the Titanium or Gold Fusion is numbered to 40. That's his best insert card. And I think Slam Bams is number 2. I am definitely in the minority on that, but for Slam Bams out of 100, you have Bams out of 250.
Yeah, the Titanium is great. And what the strange part is, I actually prefer the aesthetic looks of the molten metal, right? The Fusion, the silver looking version. I like the way that card looks better than the Titanium, the gold, as you so stated. Even though I like how it's punctured and actually has the numbering in the card, it's just straight through it. That I love. But the aesthetics, the look, I actually like the molten metal Fusion better than I do the Titanium. My number 2.
You like the silver better than the gold?
The looks, yeah, the looks.
Yeah, see, I'm the other way. I like the gold better than the silver, and but I prefer the platinum portraits to the what are they called again?
The Fusion.
Just to the Fusion. I prefer that one overall. I'm just not a huge fan of the Fusions in any color actually, and they're super important, and out of 40 or out of 250 in baseball, I think they're out of the gold, whatever it's called, the Titanium that's a color gold is out of 50. I have a Cal Ripken in that, and I love it. I actually love the looks of that in gold, but they're not, to me, it's I guess it's similar to the Ultra Stars gold. I just don't love the aesthetics of them as much as I do some other cards that do as well, if not better. So
I have to jump in because I own a Jordan and it's gold. It's like one of my best cards. I think it's like the best looking card out there.
Yeah,
so,
I like the gold better than the silver, but I like the platinum portraits, which is silver, better than the Fusion. Maybe I'm biased. I'd have to really think about it myself because I have that one. I don't have the other one, but
we're all biased with our different things. The thing that I love about, and let me just sort of stand back a little bit for a second. The platinum portraits is amazing because the only thing you've got on the card is just the, that laser cutting of the image. It's incredible. right? I love that card. The thing that I love on the other side about the molten metals is you have
It's
this
like
image of
photos.
Jordan where he's just raising up. And it's just beautiful. So they're different. And like Erk said, you've got on the gold, you've got the serial number in the card, which to me, again, of course I love it. I have it, but different strokes, right?
Exactly.
So I'd like to comment on the cards real quick. It looks like that the Trae Young is just jumping up there.
Yep.
276 out the door.
Yep.
Granted, it is a 1 of 1. Just a beautiful looking card I'm looking at. It's the auto. I'm sure I'll touch on that. But 276, that's a big card. And man, that's a lot of money. Ooh, man.
I've been telling Erk, the rare prism, the 101 stuff is just Trae Young is so collected, and that card we talked about it earlier in this auction. What if it was the black, non-auto that was selling right now? Like
I prefer that. I'm probably the only person in the industry like that, because as time goes on, even though it's a sticker auto, it's still a 1 of 1 auto. It's the only version they offer. You offer a non-auto and an auto, and I get people for whatever reason like the non-auto, but I'll take autograph over no autograph, especially I think as time moves forward and there's less and less autographs getting on cards because they're more expensive to get the players to sign.
Yeah,
I'll take the auto any day.
Yeah, I would love to see. I would love to see an auction for one of the big 1 of 1 prism black non-autographs, like a Trae or a Luka, or one of a rookie. We've got the Kobe up this time, but like of one of the big rookie cards. I can't remember the last time we saw one of those. I think that'd be really cool.
Can't remember if we sold one for $490. I don't remember if that or
Which
not.
was that?
Can't remember. I think it was Q4 of last year.
Trae?
I think I'm not sure. I honestly don't remember. That Brady refractor seems a little bit undervalued at $216. That's a good purchase, being as how he's coming back, from my opinion.
We talked on this show about what we thought was going to happen, and I was like, I think there's a good chance he'll come back, and I don't. And here we are. He's back.
Yeah, I mean, if he wins or goes deep in the playoffs, that's a $275,000 card. I don't see him. He just threw for 5,000 yards. Like, he literally that's a lot. I don't see him throwing for less than 4,600. If he's healthy all year.
We had a comment here from Giebstown, says that the rave reviews are awesome looking cards in hand, which I believe they are from what I recall seeing some at the National. But doesn't Jordan's face look like it's sort of squished or half cut off or something in that? Is that the card I'm thinking of?
I stopped paying attention for just a sec. Which card?
The where did Giebstown comment go here? Where did it go? Right here. The rave reviews.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I love the design on the rave reviews, but I've heard people say something funny about his face. I've never noticed it.
Yeah, that's my belief as well. Justin Vick, thank you so much. Says top-notch commentary, guys. I really love the show. Thank you, Justin Vick. Appreciate the positive, non-petty comment right there. Definitely appreciate that. CS, another question for the panel. Given some of these spikes you are discussing, are auctions smarter than buy it now for some of these lofty cards for a seller? Let's give that one to Erk, as he is in the auction business.
Here lately, the past 4 to 6 months, I've been suggesting that sellers run the cards in auction and let the market fight for them, right? Because you don't really know where it's going to be. And really what you're doing, you're playing, to lack of better terms, a psychological game with the potential buyer, right? So buyers tend to be, here lately, reluctant to just hit buy it now or put in full-fledged offers. They seem like they'd be more comfortable buying something on auction because they know there's multiple people out there who are willing to pay about that same amount. Most people, when they submit best offers, they're trying to get it for the lowest amount possible, and they go up a little bit incrementally at times. Versus an auction, they're willing to push their chips in. So I think for sellers in today's market, and I don't know how much longer this can last, you're probably going to get a better top dollar running at an auction versus buy it now or best offer. From what I'm seeing behind the scenes, because we broker a lot of private deals. Not to say we don't get really good private deals sold. We have been selling some really large cards privately. But that being said, for the most part, it seems like a lot of cards are selling really good on auction. Because I'm not sure say with this auction, take the Charizard. I don't think you would have found a buyer to pay 400, 350, but the market, the problem is we didn't see these people out there. We didn't know these people were out there who were willing to get these cards, because we don't know who all has the money that's willing to buy the cards. Sometimes in auctions, you bring the cards out and let the market bear what the market will bear.
Adam, you have any opinion on that?
I just think there's something to be said for wanting the card enough in the moment and knowing that if you're not willing to bid up more than the next guy, that you're not going to get it. I know it sounds super simple, but like there are times where I'm looking at a card and I look at it to buy it now and I'm like, oh, that seems too high. But then I see it get bid to that point and I'm like, well, I'm going to lose it if not. When it's just sitting there available for a certain price, it doesn't have the same appeal. The other thing I'd say about that is, back to Erk's comment about private sales. I've had Jason Mills, who is one of your guys, really, he's my rep at PWCC. He's fantastic. He's wonderful. I love Jason. He messaged me a couple weeks ago about a card that I have in my vault that's not for sale. And he said, hey, I got a really good offer on this. Are you interested? And I didn't take it, but PWCC is the vault. They make it work for them by basically when somebody who's a big buyer comes to the table and they say, hey, I want this big card, they reach out to people like me who I have my cards there. And so that's a little bit about how you can continue to learn about what the value of the market is. And I think it's good that you guys do that, but it doesn't seem like if I just put it out there just for sale, on the static marketplace that you guys have, it doesn't seem like it yields the same interest level than if you put it up for bid, and for good reason. You don't know when you see it up there if somebody's just showing it off or if they're actually willing to sell it.
Yeah, it's kind of like it might or might not be available.
Yeah,
we can see type deal.
Yeah,
but having them in the vault and the vault being in the building, that's huge, to where people can, if the potential buyer says, if they're close, and the buyer needs to step up on his offer, he can say, well, can you send me pictures of it? Maybe a little short video or something. And we can just walk right down to the vault, send a short video with the seller's permission, and send it over. And that really helps. That has helped a lot of times. It makes both parties feel more comfortable.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I agree. And there was a comment that was made here by Josh. He says, buy it nows are death for sellers now. Auction's the only way to go. And I have to say, I agree with that, because and then CS makes the comment right here. First, he thanked you, Erk, for your response. Then he says, makes good sense. I always feel better paying big money in an auction rather than wonder if I overpay for buy it now. And I understand that psychology, because there's at least one other person who was willing to pay almost exactly what you were willing to pay. So you aren't alone, and it makes you feel like you can get out of the card if you want to, as long as the market doesn't change too drastically, which is a whole other issue and impact or force. But there's a card, and I don't even remember what it is right now, but there's a card on eBay right now that somebody has listed to buy it now at a price that I think is pretty fair, but it's been sitting there. And I think that the strategy of the seller is just the wrong strategy, right? If you would have put that at an auction, you would have sold it by now, likely for more than your buy it now price. And I'll have to go remind myself what card that is, but that's definitely something that I've noticed, and I think it is a legitimate sort of characteristic of the marketplace at this time.
Yeah, we've seen that, Jeremy, with some big cards. I remember Lou Papa Sports Card X on Instagram. He picked up the Jordan 97 autographed jersey. They had been on eBay for years with this high buy it now. And it was just like, oh, I guess that thing's never going to sell. It's just always going to be there. And now in retrospect, Lou just got this incredible deal on the card. That this comment that this Josh made is just exactly right. The buy it now, if you leave it out there forever, can just kill the value of a card.
Yeah.
That's right. It can actually hurt the value of the card. So, yeah, because if it doesn't sell, it's as good as not being worth that amount. Sorry, Erk, jump in.
Yeah, sometimes it's best just to maybe throw a picture of it on your Facebook or your Instagram.
Yep.
Not list it for sale, but just put it out there. So if somebody wants it, they can put a word out of where they can find one, and eventually, the buyer might come to you.
Yeah, definitely.
That way. And the same thing with a lot of times we have a buy it now best offer for the vault. people list their stuff, and sometimes we'll tell people, hey, just pull it down for a while, or if you're looking to move it, let's see, we'll shop around to some potential buyers, but the auctions, and it's literally across the board, our auction house, any auction house, the good numbers are traditionally in this type of the market we're right now are coming from auction. In full-flown bull markets, when things are just going crazy, oh man, it doesn't matter. Buy it now, best offer, auction, it's whatever. You got to learn to play the markets at what the market's at that point in time.
Sounds good. Steve Foley, co-founder of TradeSafe, and I've got a TradeSafe on the information on the ticker right now. Can't wait to see you, Steve, at the Mint Collective in Vegas, and everybody else that will be there for sure. Skeppy says an auction creates more exposure and urgency to buy it. As this escalates, it draws in more potential buyers combined with the competitive challenge. Agreed. Well said. Vintage Card Collector says, I think the PWCC fixed market isn't great because so many cards are ridiculously overpriced. I've stopped looking at fixed because of that. Now, I got to say, I agree with the comment, and I'm a guilty party. I've got some cards on there that are probably overpriced because I haven't gone on to reprice them. And a recommendation I'd make, Erk, to you and the PWCC team is, and I know this, I don't know how much capacity you guys all have, but it would be helpful if my PWCC rep, 2 down below me, would every so often, no, and I'm not being accusatory at all. I'm just saying this is a legitimate thing that would help me maybe sell more cards and you guys make more money, is if you said, you reviewed my portfolio and said, hey, Jeremy, you know what, that one card you have might be a little overpriced, no pressure, but if you want to reduce the price, I think it might be more reflective of market value and maybe help you sell the card. That would help me stay on top of it, but I don't know, that might not, maybe that's on me, not on you guys, but again, it might help you make more money too. So that would be helpful.
Thank you, Jeremy.
You're like, don't tell me what to do, Jeremy.
I'll
call you when I'm good and ready.
No, whatever.
Hey, to defend the fixed marketplace a little bit, I've sold, I don't know, maybe 5 cards, maybe nothing crazy, but like about, 15, 20 grand worth of stuff. And it's nice. It's a nice place to park stuff where I'm like, I would sell this if it was the right price, but I don't really want to. And so, maybe it would go for way more at auction. That's fair. But the nice thing about when somebody's putting in an offer is you're gonna have that cash real quick. So I don't know. There's always pros and cons, guys.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, no, you're right, Adam. And that I've sold several cards on there. I shouldn't say several. I think I've sold 4 cards on there. I gave them all to Erk at the National last year. I gave about 20 or 30 cards, and I sold 4 or 5 of them. And I do know that some of them are overpriced right now, and I just haven't gone in to adjust because I'm not in really any rush to sell them. But that doesn't make I'm not doing any favors for the fixed price marketplace, PWCC, or the hobby by not staying on top of my pricing. And that's where I could see some help being given from you and your contemporaries there, Erk. So anyway, that's good. Nice little conversation there. I want to just go to Brian Basketballs. I just want to say hi to you as well. Thanks for dropping in. Nice to know that you're in here watching. There were some comparisons made right here. T-Dot says it's like a house that sits stale on the market, right? That's not good for the house. It's not good for the card either. So I definitely agree with that. T-Dot says it actually hurts its value, which is consistent. That's what we were saying as well. So LEK says the card ladder value on the Ovechkin SP Authentic is based on a crazy eBay buy it now from December. That one definitely worked out for the seller. Good to know. Good to know. T-Dot says there is such a thing as, yes, there is such a thing as a stale listing. Definitely. All right. Good stuff. So we are still in the 1 minute window. We are actually, I believe we're 48. Are we 48 or 18 minutes into the 1 minute windows, Erk? I'm not sure now. I've lost track of
I can't
where
see
we're.
it.
I think we're 48 minutes, Jeremy.
8:30. Yeah, we are 48. We are 48, 49 minutes into the 1 minute windows. So, hey, I mean, well, now we're down to 20 seconds. Let's see if the Michael Jordan Prism sticker is the last card to get a bid. The Prism Jewel sticker.
This is the low or the furthest we've gone on the clock too. I've been watching it. We haven't had a lot of these moments like we're having right here. Maybe this is it.
This might be it, guys.
4, 3,
2, 1.
What?
0. And updating, the auction is over. 293 cards have now been sold. Erk, you are wide-eyed. Are you going through the back end and looking at what the gross sales were?
Well, it says updating, but yeah, it ends now at 16.134. And that's it. That's right. Ball game. 16 0.13.
Wow.
16.13 million. So we now have the final prices of these cards. And what I love about this site is that they now are showing here with the buyer's premium built in. So this is the all-in price for these cards. It looks like, I think we have a new record on the Charizard. Is that right?
Look, 420. Yes, I believe that is the all-time record. I believe, I could be wrong. I believe the all-time record was 415. But I could be mistaken.
Possibly or likely an all-time record on the Charizard. Let's go through the top 24 auctions on the March Premier, PWCC Premier Auction. Number 1, we have the Charizard first edition Holo Shadowless at $420,000. In second place is the Michael Jordan 03 Exquisite Limited Logos at $324,000. In third place, the card Adam wanted for about 45% of this price is a Panini Prism Black Kobe Bryant 1/1, went for $324,000. And in number 4 spot, we have a Trae Young Prism Signature Black 1/1, $276,000. In spot number 5, a great card, the SB Authentic Tiger Woods Gold out of 100 Auto Rookie for $240,000, followed by the 52 Topps Willie Mays PSA 8 does $240,000, as does the Michael Jordan 86 Fleer Rookie does $240,000, possibly a bit of a discount because it is not in a current holder. Don't know. That's speculation. In the 8th spot, we have the Cracker Jack Shoeless Joe Jackson SGC 8.5 from 1915 to $228,000. And in the 9th spot, the card we probably talked about the most tonight, the Jordan Playmakers Theater does $216,000. It's a Pop 3 PSA 10, only 100 cards printed. The 10 spot is a card we're seeing quite regularly now. Bowman Chrome Refractor, Tom Brady, BGS 9.5, also at $216. Also in $216 in the 11 spot is the triple Upper Deck Radiance auto of Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and Kobe Bryant out of 5. In the 12 spot is this Ultimate Collection LeBron RPA PSA DNA 10. It's an authentic autograph, is a 10 out of 25, does $204,000. That's a card Adam and I both love. I'm sure Erk does too. The 13th spot is a LaMelo NT RPA, $192,000, followed by the this is a beautiful card, the 03 Exquisite Kobe Bryant Limited Logos does $186,000, followed up by the Giannis NT RPA out of 25 at $186 as well. And what's this? The 16th spot, we have the Tom Brady Essential Credentials Future Rookie Year Rookie Card PSA 9 does $180,000. It is out of 25, population of 7. The 17th spot, I love this card, guys. The Ultimate Collection LeBron Auto Rookie PSA 10 does $180,000. Hey, there's our first Mahomes. We were used to seeing Mahomes at the top of the page. Here he is towards the bottom for the first time, but this is a one color RPA out of 25 does $180,000. We have a Juan Soto Bowman Chrome Gold out of 50 at also $180K. And then in the 20 spot is the Kobe Topps Chrome Refractor PSA 10 at $168,000. 21 spot is the SGC 10 Michael Jordan 86 Fleer with the PSA Eye Appeal top 30% rating, does $156,000. In 21, we have the 2018 Panini Prism Gold Trae Young at a 10 PSA 10 Pop 4, does $156,000. In the 23 spot, Joe Burrow 2020 NT RPA BGS 9.5, $156,000. It's a true gem, all quad 9.5 subs. And finally, in the 24 spot, we have a 09 Bowman Chrome Orange Refractor Mike Trout at a 25 at $144,000. So, guys, I just went through the top 24. What surprises you the most, if anything, on this page? Adam, start with you if you have anything ready to go.
I don't really. Nothing. I mean, strong prices. Nothing standing out to me that I would say, oh man, that was really like shocking to me. But maybe that's because I don't know some of the cards. I guess I look at the tray and I go, wow, for gold, you're 156. But it's not that much out of where I would have guessed it would have been.
And how about you, Eric? Does anything stand out to surprise you in the top 24 from this month's premiere?
Charizard at 420. I believe the last sale on the books was for around 265, 280-ish. I could be wrong, but I'm fairly confident last sale was sub 300. But I have seen the market trending upward in Pokemon, so that makes sense. I expected this one to be more than had been in any marketplace for a while, because they don't, I think it's under a pop 100. I think it's pop 120, something like that. Cards, there's a few, but not a ton of them. But that's the one. I'm glad to see that the Pokemon market is healthy. And I don't know if that's a byproduct of Logan Paul, right? That he's just pushes it. There was the case that came out the case that could have been, right? But it's sometimes any publicity is good publicity to a certain degree, right? And I think that brought a lot of attention to the fact people might have asked, why would somebody pay $3 million for a case? What's inside of it? And people who probably weren't, abreast to the fact that there's $250,000, $500,000 cards inside of it. Some people, you only need 4 or 5 new people into the hobby with deep pockets who go, hey, let me pick one of those up. So it makes sense.
For me, it's these two here. I can't decide which one surprises me more. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised by this, but I am. 2015 Kobe, as Adam mentioned, it's a playing days card. So, but still, $324,000 for. It seems like a lot of money. Adam thought it would come in at that 150 mark, which is still a lot of money, but that wouldn't have surprised me as much. But this surprises me. It just does. It's got the autograph, which for me takes away from its appeal. Still, $276,000 is just a ton of money for a card, for this card in my mind. But hey, that's just my mind, and I've missed a ton of opportunities because my mind steered me wrong if I was just in it to buy and sell and make money. So, but I also, I mentioned when I was going through that the Patrick Mahomes, like we've seen Mahomes be at the top of this page month after month, and now it's not anymore. So I don't know if that surprises me or not, but I definitely feel it's worthy of noting. And I saw some of the comments mention that this SGC 10 seemed cheap at 156. I would agree with that. That does seem low to me compared to what the Fleer PSA or the PSA 10 would sell for. So
it's a clean copy, very clean copy in the SGC.
Well, it has to be, right? It has to be a clean copy to get into the SGC 10 holder. So makes sense to me, Eric.
I think it's a pop 22 or pop 23 card. Very low pop in the Gem Mint SGC.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's remind ourselves. The final bid in the auction was on the Prism Jewel stickers. It's always interesting to see what card ended the auction. I'm going to we're going to stop the screen share for a moment. We can come back to it in a couple minutes if need be. But I'm just going to go to a couple more comments here. CC says, love PWCC, but the fixed price marketplace has declined due to lower traffic as compared to when they were on the eBay platform. Well, that's why they have the weekly auctions now and the Premier. But the fixed price, the fixed price is something that you have to kind of make an effort to go to regularly because it's not really promoted as look at these new cards. Although they do send emails out that show some of the new cards that have been added to it. So if you have an account or they have your email address, there should be reminders going out, which would help buyers and sellers, I would think. Jordan Riker, haven't seen you in a while. Welcome back. Says, Jeremy and Adam, how often do you auction off your own cards? Can you talk about recent experiences? We're not going to talk about recent experiences, Adam, but how often? For me, once in a while. How often do you auction off a card, Adam?
When I need cash to buy something else.
Yeah, exactly.
On that note, real quick, Jeremy, if there's something on fixed price, if people see cards they're interested in on fixed price, and maybe there's no best offer option, you can always reach out to customer service or rep if you have a PWCC rep. And we do broker private deals behind the scenes. So if there's a card you're interested in that you see on the fixed price, just give somebody a call at work at PWCC and we'll contact the seller and see if we can't make something happen.
Yeah.
Hey, and real quick, Jeremy, you mentioned the weekly real quick. We've talked a little bit about this during this auction, and it's really important to understand people are still changing their behavior. A lot of times people used to just go to eBay, but then when PWCC left eBay, most of the good cards that you wanted to buy on eBay are now elsewhere. And so as people continue to migrate, I would just strongly recommend to anybody, go look at the weekly. It ends tomorrow. Spend an hour, scroll through the things that are interesting to you, and then get those bids in before extended bidding, because there are still deals to be had. And that's where people are going to go. People are going to go to where the deals are. And how many auctions are there this week, Erk? It's like 8,000 or something.
Yeah, there's a lot. You scour through there, and I think it's important for people to learn. So whether you're electrician or plumber or whatever, how it is you're making money in life, right? You got to put some effort into it. Whether you're on eBay, whether you're on PWCC or whatever platform, go find the deals. Learn how to network the research data opportunities that tells you whether it's Card Ladder, whoever you use to find your research data, and find the arbitrage and put in the bids and win your item. I mean, it's having the opportunity to buy and sell cards and make money from your phone is probably one of the greatest opportunities you'll have in life. You don't have to put in a whole lot. It's no physical work. It's just a little bit of time.
True that. Brian Basketball says 16.13 million in bangers. Bangers, yes.
Yes.
Succinct way of wrapping up the auction tonight. CS, so CS, I can't speak to VCP, but Card Ladder definitely uses the all-in price. Unless I'm wrong, I'm pretty certain I am not wrong on that, but if anyone from Card Ladder can verify or confirm that, please do. Jordan Riker, Jeremy, would you like to share the 4 cards that you purchased? He's talking about the fact that you see a 4 right over here. Those are not card purchases. Those are just, what do you call them? Those are like 50-cent invoices I get from PWCC, I think, for curating cards I bought on eBay and had sent to my mailbox sort of thing. So they're not PWCC purchases. They're other cards. And no, I'm not going to get into that right now. But thank you, Jordan. And nice to see you again. Albert Jones, no immaculate this time, Adam. No immaculate. Vintage Card Collector says crazy price on the 72 Reggie. What did it sell for, the 72 Reggie?
I don't know off the top of my head. Let me see.
Have a peek. T-Dot says, yeah, that the SGC Jordan seems cheap for sure. Bring in 60% of what the PSA 10 went for. So is SGC gaining ground on PSA? Interesting. Are SGC values gaining ground on PSA values, Erk? Have you noticed that trend?
I think SGC is just gaining ground, period. Whether it's on Beckett for modern or PSA for vintage, SGC is just gaining ground. I don't personally, so I've got no skin in the game. I don't own any SGC cards, so I'm not trying to sit here and pump up my own collection here. Just from what I've been seeing across the board, SGC is doing a good job, and good for them. Low cost to get cards graded, quick turnaround times. Looks like they're standing by customers. They're giving customers what customers want, and it's showing. I think customers are rewarding that, and they're pretty strict with their grading. And the fact that they have a strong hold in both vintage and modern, their card values are going up across the board. And on that, Reggie, so the out the door price, let me see, was I believe 114. Let me back up.
114 on the third year. I think we said it was a third year Reggie Jackson Topps base card.
Yeah,
but a very low pop in a PSA 10. So a very scarce and rare card. Good stuff. Haas Bonaventure says, hey guys, agree with the people are migrating comment last Sunday was my first time bidding with PWCC. We'll check the weekly now. Good stuff. Kevin Jones says SGC is strict and consistent. Consistent being very important now. I just hear too many times people say, oh, you don't like the grade you got? Just send it back until you get the grade you wanted. And it's like, that's not how it should work. So consistent is very important. Very important. All right, guys, any sort of final comments? We're at the 3-hour, 3-minute mark where we still have lots of people watching. Want to thank everybody who has joined in tonight. Hope you've enjoyed it as much as Adam looks forward to this all month. Adam, I know, loves doing this show. I do too, of course, but I know Adam really does look forward to this. It is a lot of fun. So it's fun for us. Hope it's fun for you guys. Oh, wait a second. CS won the Ore rookie tonight. That was the PSA 7. That was a beautiful copy. Not a low price, but time will tell how good the price was. Loved the cut and the centering. Yeah, that was a beautiful card you won. I think I saw it at 24 or 27,000 before the buyer's premium. So you definitely, paid your money for it. But I will say it did have extremely high eye appeal. And I think that's, you pay for eye appeal. So good for you. And congratulations to UCS. And thank you for letting us know. Behind the Tank says, everybody knows the PSA stands for please submit again.
Never heard that. I have never heard that.
I've never heard it either. Brendan Ryan, thank you very much. LGC, good to see you. Thanks for letting me know you are there. Appreciate that. I will be coming back, guys, on a separate broadcast with John Wee, the founder of the Center Stage app. We will be going live in about 5 or 10 minutes after we stop this episode, which we will be doing very soon. Thank you to Troy up here. And Brian Basketball says, 48 thumbs up. Really? Come on, y'all. It doesn't cost anything. Hitting the button on the way out. What color does it change to for bonus credit? Thank you, Brian Basketball. Yeah, guys, hit that thumbs up if you like the show. If you didn't like the show, hit the thumbs up anyway. You do have the thumbs down option as well. Please feel free to subscribe. Go to bcfmag.com to check out Basketball Card Fanatic. Adam Gray, who is with us right now, is the editor-in-chief of this beautiful publication. Go check it out. Subscribe to a few issues, or subscribe for a lifetime subscription if you want. That would be great. Support the mag. Support what Adam is doing in the hobby. Him and his team do a great job on the magazine. Thank you, Vintage Card Collector. Logan Fisher. Nice for him to thank you, Eric. Very, very nice. Jameson wants to know, will Adam be going to the National this year?
Yeah, I think so. Last year, my son had a scouting trip that was literally the exact same week. They were the only two things the whole summer that I had like as a no way I'm going to miss it, and they were at the exact same time. That's not the case this year, so I should be there.
Good stuff. I should be there as well. But even sooner is the Mint Collective next weekend in Las Vegas. I'm flying out on Thursday. I can't wait to get there. Eric, will you be at the Mint? You will be. You're speaking on one of the panels, actually, aren't you?
Yeah, I speak with Cage, and I believe Leighton is there. And I think you might be the host on that panel, Jeremy.
I am moderating that panel. We will be there together, my friend. Yes, we will. Yes, we will. That'll be fun. I'm looking forward to the Mint Collective. It is going to be a great time. Just the networking, the meet. I know, Adam, you're not coming, so I'm not saying this just to make you feel jealous that you're not going to be there, but it's going to be a lot of fun seeing so many people doing a lot of networking, and I think it's just going to be a lot of fun, and we'll let everybody know how it was once it's all over. Dave says, need to get the National out of AC. I could not agree more. with that, but hey, I will be going anywhere. Benny, we are still on, and we're going to be starting the after hours show very soon. Again, with John Wee, who is the founder of the Center Stage app, a really cool tech startup in our space in the hobby. So check it out. Okay, guys, let's do final comments, and we're gonna bring this month's version of the PWCC extended bidding coverage show to an end. Start with you, Mr. Adam.
I guess tonight I was excited because I thought I had a chance at winning a huge card. So I'm kind of bummed, right? I wanted to buy that card. And, you guys know how that is. We have wins and we have losses, and you just hope that sometimes somebody won't see something or it won't sell as well. But it's probably a testament to PWCC and how well things are promoted. And I wish I would have had that moment. But what can I say? I still love the show, still love being here, but I wanted to have another win today, and I don't. So I'm a little bummed.
Wow, I'm sorry for that, Adam. But there are always more cards to buy and to bid on. So I'm sure you'll find something else to pick up for you. Eric, final, and thanks again, Eric, for coming on and joining us for the latter half. It gives me and Adam something to look forward to having you join, but yet gives us the time to kind of dive into things and then bring you on. But final comments from you, my friend.
I'm just glad to be back, glad to make it through COVID, and I'm grateful that there's still a big market for cards. We're still seeing cards set records, not just in sports, but again, the Pokemon, the fact that I believe either broke an all-time record or it's back above the 400,000, we know for sure, is strong. I'm an advocate for not just sports cards, but just cards in general. I want to see the whole hobby grow, and I'm glad that this auction exuded that. Right
on. Good stuff, man. Well, great job by PWCC. As someone said earlier, 16 plus million being injected into the hobby, or I guess it's coming out of one hobby group's pockets and going into another hobby group's pockets, but still, that is volume. and it's a significant volume as far as one single day goes in our hobby. So good stuff for all you guys. Fact sakes, want to know what the McDavid rookie sold for. It did $20,400, lower than I expected for such a great card. I'm a little bit surprised, but okay. Brian says, chin up, Adam. You still have your awesome magazine, the Basketball Card Fanatic magazine. So there you go. Very nice comment, Brian. Basketballs. All right, guys. Well, listen, we're going to do After Hours again with John Wee from the Center Stage app in about 10 minutes. Tomorrow on the Collectible TV YouTube channel, I will be on Collectible Live. I will be interviewing and having a discussion with Ezra Levine, the CEO of Collectible. We will be doing a bit of a Mint Collective preview show. So I recommend you or suggest or ask you to come watch that show tomorrow, 7 o'clock Eastern. That is 4 p.m. Pacific. And let's get a little bit of excitement going for the Mint Collective, which will be really starting up about 4 days later with the Thursday night pre-collective festivities that I'm sure will be going on at the event. Card Ladder says, great show. Card Ladder is a major contributor to the Mint Collective in terms of planning and curating. So shout out to Card Ladder and look forward to seeing them at the Mint Collective. And a thank you to Card Ladder for sharing their booth with TradeSafe at the Mint Collective. We will be sharing the same booth with them or splitting the booth with them, and looking forward to getting to hang out with them at the Mint Collective. Come check out what Card Ladder is doing at the Mint Collective. Come check out what TradeSafe is doing at the Mint Collective. It's going to be great. All right, guys, this show is done. Stay on the channel, everybody, for After Hours. That is going to start very soon. I'm going to go grab a refill on my water, wait for John to join the studio, and then we are going to go live. Adam, thanks again. Eric, thanks again. That's it, everybody. Until the next month's Premier Auction, have a good night. See you soon. Thank you very much.